Here's the 1-2, and the breaking ball is lifted high into left field. It is gone! Home run, Mike Napoli! And the Rangers take a 12-5 lead here over the Chicago White Sox. There's the 3-1, and this one is swung on and hit deep to right field. And Rougned Odor has his second home run of the night, and he refuses to let Mike Napoli take the lead between the two of them. They both now have 26 home runs. And welcome to Rangers baseball presented by AT&T. A beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Arlington as the Rangers get ready to take on the White Sox. And there is Mike Napoli, a big night for him, but also a big night for his buddy Rougned Odor. 10 RBIs between two of those sluggers and guys that we have documented who have become great friends here on this Rangers team. Well, Tom, we keep talking about, I'm CJ Nikowski, he's Tom Grieve, by the way. We talk about this Rangers team and how important it is for them to be playing well as they make a run at that second wild card. Well, it has been a very good homestand for them.
They've played very well, CJ. They've gone 7-2, which puts them right in the thick of things for that second wild card. There's 5 teams with a game and a half of each other. The best one of those teams is only 3 games over, so it's anybody's race. And when you compare the opponents, I think the Rangers stack up very well against them.
Yeah, they certainly do, especially offensively. There was an explosion here last night, but digging in a little bit deeper, the last 5 games have been very good as well.
The last 5 games have been great. The Rangers, in addition to hitting the long ball, are starting to hit better with men in scoring position, over 300 during those last 5 games. In those 5 games, they've hit 14 home runs. They have 193 right now, puts them 1 behind Houston for the major league lead. But the catalyst for the last week really hasn't been a home run hitter. It's been Delino DeShields, who's getting on base at about a 45% clip over that time. Last night, 20 hits, 17 runs, the most in each category since 2012. Right now, at the right time, the offense is coming together. Again, they're getting the extra base hits, but they're also getting the timely hits to go along with it. It's coming right at the right time with 6 weeks to go. It's anybody's race for that last wild card, and the Rangers are right in the thick of it.
It was a fun box score to look at. Whenever you have the kind of night that the Rangers had last night, this is what you will see. But what really sticks out, Delino DeShields, Shin-Soo Choo at the top of the lineup, a combined 7 for 11. That was impressive to watch those guys and what they did at the top of the lineup. Well, on the other side of things for the Rangers, A.J. Griffin will be going tonight on the mound.
Yeah, and as we say, the next game is the most important game of the season, so that's up for A.J. today. Since he came back from the disabled list in August, he's pitched 3 times. He's won 2 out of 3 of those games. His ERA is a little bit over 3, so he's throwing the ball well. Nice warm day for him to pitch today. We'll be looking for A.J. to do more than just keep the Rangers in the ball game.
Well, he has played an important role in this starting rotation. There is no doubt about that. When he is healthy, he has been good and has pitched some big games. When we get back, Emily Jones will have the right-hander A.J. Griffin in our spotlight. That'll happen just after this. Rangers baseball is brought to you by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
set against the White Sox in a 10-game homestand on tap today here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. The Rangers looking to run it to 8-2 before they head out west. And AT Griffin taking the field and the mound today for the Texas Rangers as they close this one out. AJ making his 4th start since his return from the disabled list with that oblique issue. And it's been a bit of an up and down for AJ, kind of a bookend good starts mixed in between one maybe not so good start. As there you see the numbers in his first 3 outings. He's given up just 6 earned run in those, but 4 of them came in that middle outing. AJ says despite the struggles in that middle game, he still feels good about where he's at headed into his 4th start.
Felt pretty good so far. Even the game in between those 2, I felt like it was all right. You know, they just capitalized on a couple mistakes, but for the most part, I feel like we've been doing a good job of keeping guys off balance and just sticking to strengths and just executing pitches. So I feel like it's been going pretty well.
So AT Griffin in our Shiner Light Blog Spotlight this afternoon. He also added that it's encouraging that he's been able to increase his pitch count within each of those starts. Hopes to go a little further today and deeper into the game, hoping to be a little more efficient. And he said it does help him relax a little bit knowing that the offense is clicking the way that it is and has shown the propensity to be able to bounce back if they get an early deficit, guys.
Well, thanks, Emily. And AT Griffin has been the recipient of some great run support this year, so he absolutely would like that to continue. And the way the Rangers are swinging the bats, you got to believe there's a good chance that will happen. Well, let's take a look at the pitch arsenal here for the right-hander, AT Griffin.
Well, when you look at the pitch arsenal, you'll see that his fastball is a little bit below average. He throws it 54% of the time. Best pitch is his curveball. He throws that a quarter of the time. You'll also mix in a changeup and occasionally a cutter. But pretty much you'll see fastball and you'll see his good curveball.
That funky curveball from AT Griffin. Well, that is what the Chicago White Sox are going to have to deal with here this afternoon. And let's take a look at the lineup. Leury Garcia will be leading off. Yolmer Sanchez, he's been impressive. 6 triples this season. That is 2nd best in the American League. We've also seen him make some pretty spectacular defensive plays in this series. So he'll get an opportunity as he hits 2nd in this lineup. But first for AT Griffin, it is going to be Leury Garcia leading things off here, the switch hitter. First pitch from AT Griffin, and it is a fastball swung on and missed. And we have seen that from Garcia as well in this series, where he is very aggressive early. Maybe not your typical leadoff hitter in the sense that he's not necessarily looking to work the count. And there's that slow breaking ball at 64 miles an hour from AT Griffin, and he is quickly ahead 0-2.
Now, we talked about the White Sox walking fewer times than any team in baseball, and Garcia is one of them. He's only walked 10 times in 259 at bats.
That slow breaking ball, Tom, you were talking about how AT Griffin will use that about 25% of the time. It's been a great pitch for him. .215 batting average against his curveball, and just 1 home run allowed on that pitch this season.
Yeah, and it's the same story that we pretty much say every time AJ pitches. You really can forget what the radar gun says on his fastball. If all he threw was fastballs, it might be a different story, but the curveball just makes that fastball. Wow, that's the Dipsy Doodle right there.
And there it is.
64 miles an hour.
Incredible from AT Griffin, who strikes out Garcia to start off this game. Let's take a look at the defense here for the Texas Rangers this afternoon. Oh, first a replay.
Let's check that one out. That's worth showing again. That might be the highest he's ever thrown his curveball, and the slowest he can throw it is right around 64 miles an hour. And you can see it and you can try to wait, but as Leury Garcia just found out, that's difficult to do.
The first pitch fastball to Yolmer Sanchez is a cold strike. And the other thing you get with AT Griffin is a pretty good pace, as he is a guy that gets right back on the mound, delivers his next pitch, and that next pitch is a fastball that is lifted to center field. Delano DeShields is back, and he makes the catch, and it's 2 outs quickly here for AT Griffin. Now we'll take a look at the defense.
Let's do it. The Rangers defense is delivered by Texas Department of Transportation. Few new names in the lineup this afternoon. Drew Robinson gets the start in left. Delino's back in center. Nomar's in right. It's Elvis and Rugned as usual up the middle. Joey Gallo gets the start at third. Adrian is the DH. Brett Nicholas is behind the plate. And Mike Napoli is over at first base.
Jose Abreu will step in. He will take a first pitch that misses. First of the 3 hitters here for the White Sox that did not get a first pitch strike from A.J. Griffin. Back-to-back balls now, and A.J. Griffin behind 2-0. Abreu goes hacking, and you see it there, just 86 miles an hour. But A.J. Griffin is not afraid to elevate that fastball regardless of the velocity. He is a competitor. There's no problem going right after guys' time.
All 3 pitches have been in the exact same spot, and that's just a case where Abreu said 2-0, I'm swinging. It's going to be a good fastball to hit. Problem was it was the same pitch as the first 2.
Slow breaking ball is called a strike.
Causes the umpire to call it like a changeup. The umpire's a changeup himself.
Pretty incredible. Take a look at this.
Comes straight down and just touches that outside corner. James Hoy saw that.
2-2, and this fastball is lined into right field, and that ball is going to get down. Cut off by Nomar Mazara. Abreu's going to go for 2, though. Here's the throw, and he is safe. Jose Abreu turns that line drive into right center field into a double, and so excellent base running on the part of Jose Abreu.
Yeah, with 2 outs, it makes sense to try to take that extra base. Does he keep his foot on the base this time? Whoa, it's close. Got an out on him the other day the same way. He was safe and then took his foot off the bag. But Abreu hits this ball into the gap. Nomar runs it down, but I don't think he thought Abreu was going to go to second. He made a perfect throw. He just took an extra second to throw it. Probably surprised that Abreu decided to go for 2. But with 2 outs, that's an aggressive play that makes sense.
So the Rangers will not challenge that play. You see it there, 33rd double of the year for Jose Abreu. And with 2 outs, Nicky Delmonico will step in, the young left-hander. See his season through 16 games. 356, those 5 home runs. Well, 4 of them came in a 3-game span. The last game that they played before they got here against the Dodgers. Then he had a couple of home runs on Friday night against the Rangers. One of them out of the ballpark. The other one was an inside the park home run. (2-0) just misses. Count now 3-0. There's a changeup from A.J. Griffin, and we were listening to Emily talk to A.J. earlier, but right before the game, playing that tape, and he was talking about trying to be a little bit more efficient, getting deeper into games. His last 2 starts, he went 5 in each of those. In the last one, it took him 93 pitches to get through 5. And you see Delmonico swing through the 3-0 pitch. So efficiency, getting deeper in games, something that is on the mind of A.J. Griffin. That slow breaking ball misses, and so the first walk of the game for A.J. Griffin. And it'll be first and second with 2 outs for Avisail Garcia.
Well, Delmonico, left-hand hitter, first base is open. He's been swinging the bat really well. Garcia is a right-hand hitter, but he's been swinging the bat pretty well too. He's hit over 300 all season long, way over 300 at the beginning. Tailed off slightly, but still hitting 309. And he's a good hitter. He hits the ball to all fields. Came from the Tigers in a trade. And a lot of people say he's kind of a younger version of Miguel Cabrera. Maybe he hasn't reached the same quality yet, but a lot of similarities in their style.
Garcia steps in. 3-0-4 with runners in scoring position. He's got an opportunity here with Jose Abreu at second base. And the Chicago White Sox this series, 8 for 29 in these situations. And it is amazing, Tom, to me to watch A.J. Griffin make some pretty good hitters look slow on 86 miles an hour. I mean, he looked like he was behind that ball.
Yeah, and as you well know, as a pitcher, CJ, it's all about disrupting the timing of the hitter. And that's why A.J.'s a big league pitcher. He's able to do that.
Well, here's the 0-2, and it's another slow breaking ball, and a nice play by Elvis Andrews. Throws the second to Rougned Odor in time to get Delmonico, and the inning is over. And so a great play there by Elvis Andrews. A.J. Griffin puts up a 0 in the top of the first. Look at the Southwest batting order here for the Texas Rangers. Delano DeShields back at it in the leadoff spot. Rougned Odor, Elvis Andrews, Adrian Beltre, Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo, Mike Napoli, Drew Robinson, as Tom mentioned, getting the start. Brett Nicholas, let's see what he has done. Good numbers for him. And he gets an opportunity to play, and they'll be facing Miguel Gonzalez.
Let's check out Miguel Gonzalez and the pitches he likes to throw. 49% of the time he'll throw his fastball. He'll throw a lot of sliders 23% of the time, and he'll throw a lot of curveballs. Basically a finesse pitcher, a breaking ball pitcher. His off-speed pitch, a splitter, works like a changeup, I guess, at 84 miles an hour. So less than half the time he throws his fastball. More than half the time he'll throw off-speed pitches.
Well, here's the first pitch for Gonzalez, and it is a fastball that misses downstairs, 89 miles per hour. Delano DeShields, we've talked about him a bunch. He has done an excellent job here lately for the Rangers, getting an opportunity to play, especially with Carlos Gomez going on the DL, and he swings and hits a ground ball just foul past Saladino at third base.
Look what he's done on this homestand. He's played the last 7 games, hit close to 400, and that just tells part of the story. He's also walked 6 or 7 times, and several times during this homestand we've shown highlights of the excellent plays he's made in the outfield. A beautiful play going to the foul line in left field, a couple of diving plays in center field. He's stolen bases, and at the top of the order, the excitement that he's generated just seems to have motivated the rest of the lineup.
Breaking ball down in the dirt, and Delano DeShields could not hold up, and so he will be a strikeout victim here to start off the game for the Rangers.
That's a good curveball that Gonzalez throws. Downward breaking curveball, and it's not just a loopy kind of curveball, it's a sharp breaking curveball. Tough for Delano to lay off that one. Gonzalez has been pitching well in his last 2 starts. He's thrown a total of 14 innings, and he's given up 1 run in each start, so 2 runs in 14 innings. He's beaten Kansas City, also pitched against the Dodgers.
He's kind of become the guy now in this Chicago White Sox starting rotation that has been somewhat reliable. The overall year maybe not exactly where he wants it to be, but as you mentioned, he's been pitching better lately. There's the first pitch fastball to Rougned Odor, which brings us to our TXU Energy Power Player to watch. And that power player will indeed be Rougned Odor. What he has done over the last 7 games. Look at that batting average, .407, couple of home runs, the extra base hits, 3 steals in there as well. Odor is quickly down to the count 0-2.
That's a tough 2 pitches right there. One touched the outside corner, one touched the inside corner to a hitter. That makes it feel like the plate is about 6 inches too wide. Excellent pitches, though, from Gonzalez.
Narvaez is calling for the fastball up, and he gets it, but this one is well out of the zone. Count now 1-2, and you were just talking about that curveball, the one that we saw to Delino to Shields. We'll see if Gonzalez wants to go there. A lot of times we see the elevated fastball out of the zone intentional, so you can set up the curveball.
Well, last night was a big night for Rugi. Against Derek Holland, he reached for a pitch outside, hit it just barely over the sign in right field. A little bit later against the right-hander, he got all of this one on a line well into the upper deck. 2 home runs, knocked in 5.
And there's a fastball called strike 3 against Rougned Odor. That looked like a 2-seamer with some pretty good late movement there, Tom. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts.
It looked like it hit something and bounced back to the right. That pitch just looks like it's inside all the way, and you can see it spinning. And look at that ball come back. Almost looked like a flat left-handed slider the way it came back over the plate. Very tough pitch for a hitter, because most of the way you're pretty sure it's going to be inside. You can't swing at it unless you're going to swing at a bad pitch, and then the last thing you know, boom, right over the plate it goes.
Well, Elvis Andrus will step in. He takes a first pitch breaking ball for a ball. Check out the season numbers. Very nice season here for Elvis Andrus. Those 16 home runs are a career best for him. And there's a fastball fouled straight back. Elvis has swung the bat really consistently, really well the entire season, but specifically here in August, he's got a major league high 9 doubles. And the 16 runs that he has scored are tied for 6th best in Major League Baseball. And here's a fly ball lifted into right field. But Garcia is there, and it is a 1-2-3 inning for the White Sox. Miguel Gonzalez. It took him just 12 pitches. We're through 1 here in Arlington. No score so far between the White Sox and the Texas Rangers, and it is time for our Coors Banquet timeless moment. And this is definitely a timeless moment, something you will definitely never see again. But cool here, Nolan Ryan throws a pitch. It was clocked at 100.9 miles per hour by the Guinness Book of World Records. That's not what you'll never see again. We certainly see that. But he struck out 19 batters in a 1-0 complete game, 11-inning loss. Unbelievable that Nolan Ryan threw 11 innings. Maybe more unbelievable that his opponent in that game, Mickey Lolich, also threw 11 innings. 10 hits allowed by Lolich, but no runs. 4 strikeouts compared to Nolan Ryan's 11 innings, 4 hits, 19 strikeouts. So what a battle that was between those two guys. Lolich was the winner, although I think you could argue that maybe Nolan Ryan threw the better game.
And Mickey Lolich was a great pitcher for the Tigers. He had that tremendous World Series against the Cardinals when he won 3 times, pitched 3 times. He was one of those left-handers. He was very smooth, very deceptive. His fastball actually looked like it picked up speed as it got toward home plate. Almost looked like it took off. Go to swing at it, thought it was a pretty good pitch to hit. Next thing you know, it was right by you. And he would pound that strike zone too, one right after the other. A lot of fastballs.
AJ Griffin is now back out for his 2nd inning of work. But I wonder a little bit too. So 100.9 miles an hour. Obviously the technology has changed. That was 1974. And it seems like, and even this year with the addition of some of the technology that we have used, there's been bumps in velocity. We know guys are throwing harder, but there's also been some bumps. You know, we've seen guys like, I'll use Madison Bumgarner as an example. At the beginning of the season, he was throwing 2 or 3 miles an hour harder than he usually is. And you start to wonder, well, could he really be doing that at his age, or is it the way that we're acquiring the data and talking about? A lot of people talk radar guns coming out of a pitcher's hand. I just wonder if Nolan Ryan, if you could take him out from 1974 and put him on a big league mound right now, I kind of feel like that would be 102 or 103 based on where the technology is. What do you think? I mean, we're guessing.
I'm not sure how a guy like Bumgarner, really not known for velocity, at this stage of his career could all of a sudden be throwing 3 or 4 miles an hour harder. I'm not sure what enters into that. I would say, though, based on the way Nolan was throwing in his 40s while he was a Ranger, between the ages of whatever it was, 41 to 45, you know, he was consistently 93 to 96 then. That throwing 100 plus in 1974 was very realistic. I'm sure he was. Not sure what the technology was, but if you could take the current technology and bring it back to 1974, I'm sure he was throwing over 100 miles an hour.
And I remember as an amateur in college and even in the beginning of my professional career, you'd always hear, well, the Jugs gun was faster and the Ray gun was slower, right? Even when you would go into Boston, there's another foul ball here off of Narvaez. They used a different gun. This is in the mid-90s. You'd go in there and your fastball was always slower in Boston compared to other places, and there was different varying technologies in the way that velocity would be accumulated. That's why I wonder just a little bit as you see the radar gun there as technology continues to get better. But picking the ball up out of a pitcher's hand as opposed to when it crosses the plate, there's a big difference as AJ Griffin delivers his 10th pitch of the at-bat, and it is another foul ball. And Omar Narvaez is giving AJ Griffin some fits here to lead off the 2nd inning.
Well, when I first started working in the scouting department back in 1981, the first question you asked when you saw a radar gun speed is which gun was it? The Jugs gun was the higher of the two, and that measured the ball when it came right out of the pitcher's hand. The Ray gun was 3 to 4 miles an hour slower than that. It measured it when the ball got by the plate. In fact, if you watched a Ray gun, didn't watch the pitch, you just watched the gun, you might see the gun pop up a number at, say, 92, and then see it go 92, 91, 90, 88. You could see the ball slowing down with the digits on the gun. And then eventually, I believe they ditched the Ray gun, the slower of the two, and for as long as I can remember, the speed of a pitch was clocked when it left the pitcher's hand. Now, with the current technology, I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing. And if it makes it faster than that, maybe they're timing it like before it leaves his hand in his mind, how fast he wants to throw it.
What he hopes it will be.
Yeah.
We might get to that point sooner or later, the way things have been headed lately. Well, how do you feel about it? What do you really want it to be? Let's just put that number up on our scoreboard for you. Well, it was 11 pitch at bat. Now AJ Griffin a little more efficient here as he gets a 2nd pitch ground ball. Elvis Andrews handles it, and over to Mike Napoli for the second out of this inning.
Actually, for gamesmanship, it would be pretty good to do two things. The home team pumps up their own team. Instead of throwing 90, you put up like 94, 95. And when the visitor goes out, you drop it down about 4. So a guy that's normally accustomed to throwing 92 looks up and sees 88 or 87 and just gets completely demoralized for the game.
I love it. I actually think that would be okay. I know that you would go into certain ballparks and sometimes you would think that a little bit, but why not get your home guys maybe a little bit more pumped up? And then at the same time, right, so say, you know, whoever is out there, you got Jose Leclerc out there and you pump him up a couple of miles an hour and the guys that are sitting on deck are going, dang, I didn't know this guy threw that hard. So you start to get in their mind a little bit, and then like you said, on the opposite side, getting maybe your opponent's pitchers a little discouraged. Well, A.J. Griffin has himself a 1-2-3 inning. A nice play there by Nomar Mazara to end the top of the second. No score here at Arlington. No score so far between the Rangers and the White Sox, but you're going to want to make sure that you head out to Globe Life Park on September 8th and 9th for Beltray Weekend. You can get a commemorative Beltray 3K hat using the special theme night link at texasrangers.com/Beltray3K. Make sure you get your tickets today. 2 opportunities to get that pretty awesome hat. And right on time, Adrian Beltre steps in and lines one just foul.
Last night we saw some very nice defense. And we're going to highlight Adrian Beltre. 38 years old. That ball in slow motion doesn't look like it was hit very hard, but that ball was smoked probably over 100 miles an hour. And Adrian still with the quickness to catch it on a short hop and throw him out at first base.
We have been continually impressed with Adrian Beltre, who now owns 27th place all to himself on the all-time hit list. He passed Rafael Palmeiro last night. It'll be interesting to see really this season where he finishes, but then where could he actually finish on the list when his career is all said and done. Adrian Beltre continues to play at a very high level. He watches that breaking ball go in the dirt. 926 OPS for Adrian Beltre. That is the best on the team out of the regulars. Low strikeout rate, just under 12%. That is also the best. And he has taken an 0-2 count and worked it to 3-2 against Miguel Gonzalez.
we've seen the Rangers put together some great at-bats. They've been good on this homestand. We highlighted in the open their last 5 games and how good the offense has been. To watch Adrian Beltre work this 0-2 to 3-2. We saw Joey Gallo do the same thing a couple of times over the last few games, and Adrian Beltre swings at a fastball, so he is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout of the afternoon for Miguel Gonzalez.
Yeah, Gonzalez really hasn't been that big of a strikeout pitcher. 65 strikeouts, 114 innings coming into the game. 4 or 5 strikeouts per 9 innings, but he's been a strikeout pitcher so far in this game.
Well, here come the Rangers and Nomar Mazara, but look at what they have done. The last 10 games, this offense has been absolutely in fuego. 324 batting average to home runs. The runs scored, even I can figure out that 7.7 runs per game. That's pretty good, Tom.
Yeah, I saw you get your phone out and put the calculator on. That's good job.
Hey, you want to make sure, just double check. Well, Nomar Mazara lines the first pitch that he sees down the right field line, but it's going to go foul.
Yeah, the Rangers have hit 14 home runs in the last 5 games. That gives them 193 home runs coming into the game. The Astros have 194, so they're within 1 of the major league lead. Only team to have 3 batters with over 25 home runs in the American League.
Unbelievable to see the power that the Rangers continue to display. 2nd now in Major League Baseball, just 1 behind the Houston Astros. That last component I think that was missing. The power has been there. We obviously seen what they have done. Getting on base a little bit more, trying to cut down some of those strikeouts. I mean, you don't have unrealistic expectations and expect this to become a contact kind of lineup. You're going to lose some of the power if you do that. But we have seen the trend moving in the right direction for a while now here for the Rangers offense. Well, 3-1 count to Nomar Mazara. 1 out here in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Miguel Gonzalez ready to deal. And he misses with the fastball in. And so it is ball 4. And the Rangers will have their first base runner of the afternoon.
Here's what we were talking about in the last 5 games. The Rangers had 17 runs last night, 51 total in the last 5 games. 62 hits, and there's the 14 home runs in the last 5 games. But in addition to being a home run hitting team, they've also hit well with men in scoring position. They've gotten a lot of base hits at key parts of the game with men in scoring position to drive in runs. They've walked a lot. Base running has been exciting, with Delino kind of igniting it at the top of the order. Rubned, who's hitting at the top of the lineup today, running the bases very well at the bottom of the order during this homestand. Elvis always runs the bases well. So there's a lot more to this offense that we've seen over the last 2 weeks than just a power hitting team that's all or nothing.
Well, Joey Gallo now stepping in. There are his season numbers. 35 home runs for Joey Gallo. I mentioned this last night. That is the most in a season by a Ranger since 2012. And there were 2 Rangers that did it that year. Josh Hamilton with his 43 and Adrian Beltre with 36. Baez takes a look there at Mazara. How about this? Joey Gallo, we talk about the strikeouts and the home runs. Well, he has walked now in 6 straight games. That's the career best for him. That's also the longest streak by a Texas Ranger this year. So some good things happening with Joey.
Yeah, and that's important because he was so hot hitting home runs that it made sense that the pitchers would stop, at least go out of their way, not to give him anything good to hit. Only makes sense. And then it was going to be up to Joey not to expand his strike zone, to take the pitch that's out of the strike zone and let the next guy be the one to drive in the run. And he's done a nice job of that with walks in 6 straight games. Nice progress.
Well, this is the 6th batter of the afternoon that Miguel Gonzalez has faced, but it is the 4th 3-ball count. So the Rangers doing a nice job of working Miguel Gonzalez. Joey Gallo will take a fastball that just misses, and so it is back-to-back walks. Now make that streak 7 straight games for Joey Gallo. And how about this guy coming up next? Mike Napoli, Tom, has certainly shown some power this year.
He definitely has. Knapp hit his 26th home run last night. And one nice sign, he's hitting the ball to the right side, too. That one went into the bullpen in right center field. That one he hit to left field, a curveball that really wasn't a bad pitch. He just waited on it and went down and golfed it into the seats above the scoreboard. It's great to see Knapp get out. Rangers last night, 3 of their home runs came with 2 men on base.
Well, Mike Napoli will get an opportunity here with a runner in scoring position. That's Nomar Mazara out at second base. He reached via the walk, as did Joey Gallo, and Napoli will take a first pitch strike. Last night, the Rangers 6 for 16 in these spots with runners in scoring position. For the series overall, just 8 for 31. But last night, they put on an absolute display with the bats. 20 hits when it was all said and done. The most since 2012 in any single game, as Mike Napoli lifts a fly ball to shallow center field. Engel dives, and he cannot make the catch. The runners had to hold to make sure that that ball got down. Joey Gallo had made his way almost all the way to second base, but Nomar Mazara had to wait and make sure that that ball wasn't caught. Joey Gallo had a little bit of a better look at it than Nomar Mazara did, but it is a base hit nonetheless for Mike Napoli.
Yeah, that's one there's nothing you can do as a base runner, because this kid can really play center field. He's got excellent speed. That looked like a base hit off the bat, and I think a base runner might have been tempted to read it that way, but he almost came up with that ball. And if you read it as a base hit and somehow he gets that ball, then it's a double play, end of the inning. So that was good base running by Nomar. Played it cautiously, couldn't score on it, obviously.
It was interesting to watch Joey Gallo as he came around second. Almost seemed a little bit surprised that Nomar was still there, and so he had to put on the brakes. But if Engel holds on to that ball, like you said, the inning is over, because that is going to be an easy line out to center and then an 8-3 for a double play. But that's not what it is. It is bases loaded, and now this one is lifted behind second base. Tim Anderson will make the catch, but the infield fly rule was called. We saw Anderson drop almost that identical pop-up last night. Drew Robinson is retired on 1 pitch, and so Brett Nicholas now will get an opportunity here with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
Well, Brett has kind of sparked the offense the last couple of times he's played, and on Thursday it was no different. The Rangers are down in that game. That 2-run homer got the Rangers right back into the game. Before that, he had a nice home run against the Astros. Yeah, that at bat, Drew Robinson, bases loaded, 1 out. Maybe a little over anxious. Swung at the first fastball he saw. Was a little bit late on it. Ball got in on him a little bit.
Nicholas takes a first pitch ball.
In one hand, you definitely don't want to waste a great pitch to hit. But in your first at bat, the first time you see a pitcher, if you're going to be prepared to hit the first pitch, then you've got to make sure that the pitch doesn't get in on you.
And here's the 1-0, and Nicholas will foul that one off. Bases loaded here for the Rangers, and the inning started out with an Adrian Beltre strikeout, but it was back-to-back walks to Nomar Mazara and Joey Gallo, and then Mike Napoli with the base hit. See what Nicholas has done over his last 3 games. .417 batting average, a couple of home runs, has done a nice job. 6 RBIs as well. One is popped up left side, shallow left field. Garcia is there battling the sun, but he makes the catch, and the inning is over. So 3 base runners, but nothing to show for it for the Rangers. We'll go to the 3rd when we get back. Now it's time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. And let's take a look at Mike Trout. 26 home runs this season. He becomes the third player in baseball history with 6 seasons of 25 or more home runs. And he's done all that before the age of 26. Only Eddie Matthews and the great Frank Robinson are able to accomplish that feat. And we are absolutely seeing history in the making. One of the greats in Mike Trout, still such a young player. And you see the wild card standings there. And the Angels played pretty well without Mike Trout when he was hurt, but they're certainly pleased to have him back. 3 games over 500. Now they are second, or at least tied for that second wild card. I don't know if we have seen any kind of prolonged slump. I mean, that's the thing with Mike Trout. You feel like there would be some kind of correction. When he first got to the big leagues, he struggled a little bit. But that has been it. Ever since he became a regular, playing every day, he has been something special.
Yeah, he's in my opinion, it's not even close, the best player in baseball. And somehow the Angels have been hanging in there like they have been getting maybe a little bit better pitching than you thought they were going to get. But when you look at their team, you see 2 exceptional players in Trout and Andrelton Simmons. And then, of course, you've always got Albert Pujols, who's not what he used to be, but he's still a force in the middle of the lineup, knocking in big runs.
You get your opportunity to see plenty of Mike Trout. There are 9 games still remaining for the Rangers against the Angels, and 3 of those games will start tomorrow. Well, actually, it's 10 games that are remaining between the Rangers and the Angels. That series that starts tomorrow will be a 4-game series.
Yep, Monday through Thursday.
And then there's 6 more games in September. So all the Mike Trout that you want to see, and I don't know, you take that as good news, bad news, maybe. But the big thing, the important thing, is that the Rangers will have an opportunity to go head-to-head with one of the teams that they're looking up at in the wild card standings. Well, A.J. Griffin retires the first 2 hitters he faces, and it's Lurie Garcia, second strikeout of the afternoon. Let's throw it over to Rick Renner, who's got a Chevy game break for us. I appreciate that, Rick. And yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with rooting against those teams that are in front of the Rangers right now, and the idea of maybe some guys going ice cold, but it'll be a challenge. They're playing pretty well, the Angels have as of late. Yolmer Sanchez now stepping in for the Chicago White Sox. He flew out to center field back in the first. That fastball misses, and A.J. Griffin finds himself behind 3-0 to Sanchez. That's called a ball. A.J. didn't like that call, so it is a 4-pitch, 2-out walk for Sanchez against A.J. Griffin, who has thrown 45 pitches here through 2 2/3. And with 2 outs, that brings up Jose Abreu. And Abreu doubled back in the first inning. That ball that he hit to right center, that seemed like maybe it caught Nomar Mazara by surprise, that Abreu would try to go for 2 on that. He was just safe, and a pretty good throw by Nomar Mazara. That pitch misses up and in, and so it is now 6 straight balls from A.J. Griffin here after 2 outs. He got the fly out to center, the strikeout of Garcia.
Well, if A.J. has thrown Abreu 7 or 8 pitches today, 5 of them have been up and in and out of the strike zone. Obviously trying to pound him in and keep the ball up. He swung at one of them, but the ball he hit to right center field was down and out over the plate.
Now here's a breaking ball and a 2-0 count right down the middle, and so the count now goes 2-1. It's been another good year for Jose Abreu and a good road trip. 11 for 23. He's got a triple and 3 home runs. And he pops a fastball straight up behind home plate. Brett Nicholas is there, and he makes the catch. And so the inning is over. Nice job by A.J. Griffin. We're through 2.5 here in Arlington. No score.
Enter the bottom of the third in a scoreless game. Let's look back at last night's game for Delino DeShields. He had a double, one hopped the wall. He had another double in the game as well. He also stole third base easily in the game. Then a little later in the game, with 2 strikes, shortened his swing, hit a hard ground ball into right field for a base hit. And to show the other side of the ball, how about a nice diving play in the outfield defensively. 3 for 5, had 2 doubles, stole a base, walked, scored 3 runs, and is playing great defense. We've said several times today, pregame show, open, and now during the game. The last week has been exciting offensive baseball for the Rangers, and the guy at the top of the lineup that seems to be right in the middle of it is Delino DeShields.
Let's see what Delino has done on the homestand. 379, swinging a very good bat as he takes a fastball in off the plate. Count now even 1-1 to Delino DeShields. He did strike out back in the first inning. 1 of 2 strikeouts for Miguel Gonzalez in that first inning. He's got 3 on the afternoon so far through his 2 innings of work. Breaking ball misses downstairs. Now, when we talk about Delino DeShields, how about this, Tom? The Rangers are 10 games over 500 when he starts, and then take a look at what he's done over his last 18 starts. Nearly a .320 batting average, 400 on base. That is everything that you could wish for from Delino DeShields.
Well, he's been a patient hitter, taking walks, realizing that if he can get a walk, he can do something important on the bases. Over his last 61 games, something like 170, 180 at bats. He's hit .313. So he brings a lot to the party. And when he's getting on base at the top of the order, just seems to set everything up for the middle of the lineup, just like you'd expect from any leadoff hitter who's doing that with his speed.
Well, it's interesting, too. I think it sticks out a little bit more with Delino because we have seen the leadoff hitter change. We've seen that role change a little bit. We've seen some pretty interesting guys get at bats at a leadoff spot. Guys like Kyle Schwarber with the Chicago Cubs at one point, Anthony Rizzo, Carlos Santana was leading off, but Delino DeShields is doing his thing, and this is a line drive base hit to left center field, and the Rangers have a leadoff base runner here in the 3rd inning, thanks to Delino DeShields. Well, let's check in now for the first time with Emily Jones, who's got our fan of the game.
Yes, progressive fan of the game time. It is Georgia Helms, who is with us from Maud with her family celebrating her 86th birthday. Guys, I've been told she refuses to go to bed until every game is over, which means she's had a very healthy dose of us of late, and I think that deserves the progressive fan of the game. Thank you so much, Georgia. You're very welcome, and happy birthday, guys.
What a great way to spend her birthday. So many people just like her that watch every inning, every pitch of every game. Those are our best fans right there. Look how happy she is.
Well, we certainly appreciate the diehards, and we thank you for tuning in and staying up with us every night. And Emily's absolutely right. That must have been a grind for these last few. We've had a couple of games that have knocked on the door of 4 hours, but worth watching because the Rangers have been playing some great baseball as of late.
I've talked to a lot of ladies in that age bracket who watch every pitch of every game over the years, and one thing a lot of them say is they look at the young players as their kids, and that's why they love to see them develop. They love to hear us talk about them. They love to watch them, and they hate it when they get an attachment to a player and he leaves. But they genuinely love Ranger baseball.
A lot of good reasons to like this Rangers club. We talked about how good they have been playing as of lately, and Rougned Odor fakes the bunt as Delino DeShields is on the move. And it'll be a stolen base for Delino DeShields, number 23 on the season for Delino. An 0-2 count now to Rougned Odor.
Well, it's like almost on cue after we showed the highlight package from last night's game that Delino rips a base hit to left and steals second.
Tom, what do you make of that bunt attempt there by Rougned Odor? He's already down on the count 0-1. Is he doing that to let Delino take the bag and maybe try to serve as a distraction, or you think he was actually thinking bunt there?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. Might have been a distraction, in which case it's a definite team move down by 1 strike in the count leading up to that anyway.
0-2 count, and this fastball is fouled off by Rougned Odor. And so he's got Delino DeShields in scoring position, and so because of that, see a little bit of a different shift here against Rougned Odor. We are so used to seeing the 3 infielders on the right side of the bag, but somebody has to be close to Delino DeShields, and with 2 strikes especially, Tim Anderson has slid back over to the shortstop side of second base. So a little bit of an opportunity there, maybe on that right side of the bag for Rougned Odor and a hard ground ball. Now Anderson sneaks in behind Delino, but he's back in plenty of time.
Well, let's take a look. There's Delino on first. Rougned, and it's tough to tell. I would think he knows that Delino's going, and he's not going to bunt under those circumstances, that he was perfectly willing to try to distract the catcher in any way possible to aid Delino's steal of second base.
The stolen base has been an issue for the Chicago White Sox. They came into this series allowing the 2nd most in Major League Baseball. The door fouls another one off. Narvaez hasn't been as bad. 12 for 51. That's how many he has thrown out so far. Kevin Smith, who we saw yesterday catching for the White Sox in his only start of the series. Well, you see him now there. The White Sox are tied with the Chicago Cubs with the most stolen bases allowed. Smith 2 for 48. He's only thrown out 2 of those 48 potential base stealers. So both the north and the south side having a little bit of an issue preventing a stolen base in Chicago. And Rougned Odor chases an 0-2 fastball up out of the zone, so he'll go down on strike. 2nd strikeout of the afternoon for Rougned Odor.
The shortstop, Elvis Andrus.
Well, Gonzalez is a veteran pitcher, a finesse pitcher, and when he's ahead in the count, he's going to go out of his way to try to get Rougned to swing at a pitch out of the strike zone, make it close enough that he'll swing and far enough away that if he does, he might miss it.
That'll bring up Elvis Andrus with 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Elvis flew out to right field in his first at bat in the 1st. And there's a breaking ball up high, called ball 1. It's been a good run here for Elvis Andrus, and he has been very good in these spots this year. 308 batting average with runners in scoring position. He's got 3 home runs, 49 RBIs. He's really been clutch, consistent this entire season. He played such an important role in the beginning of the season when Adrian Beltre missed the first couple of months of the season because of that calf. He kind of became the stabilizing force in that lineup. We talk about how much power is in the Ranger lineup, but you also got to have some balanced hitters. Adrian Beltre is certainly one of those. Elvis Andrus has been that guy as well. Delino DeShields is on the move. Here's the throw down the third, and DeShields is safe. So it is a steal of second and a steal of third for Delino DeShields here in the third inning.
Such an asset. You know, you're talking, CJ, about other types of players who can lead off, and leadoff hitter is all about on-base percentage for sure. But when you can combine on-base percentage with what Delino brings to the party with his speed, then you've really got a leadoff hitter. And that's what Ricky Henderson was. That's what the great leadoff, the great leadoff hitters provided some power, a lot of walks, good batting average, high on-base percentage with excellent speed. And that's what we've seen from Delino over the last week.
So the infield will be drawn in here on the 3-0 count to Elvis Andrus with Delino DeShields at third base and 1 out. That fastball is called the ball. Just misses off the corner. So a 4-pitch walk to Elvis Andrus.
Well, you would think one of the keys for the Rangers today, Miguel Gonzalez has been throwing the ball well, 2 runs in his last 14 innings. Veteran guy with pretty good stuff. One of the keys would be try to make him throw a lot of pitches, hot day, get to the bullpen as quickly as possible. And that's one thing that has not been working well for the White Sox. One of the things that has not been working well has been their bullpen. So try to get to it as soon as possible, make him throw a lot of pitches.
And another potential steal opportunity here for the Rangers. Elvis Andrus has got 23. He's 23 for 30 this year. Adrian Beltre has hit into 7 double plays. So you wonder if there will potentially be a move here by Jeff Bannister, potentially thinking about maybe trying to get Elvis Andrus into scoring position as well for Adrian Beltre. And here's what the Rangers have done well. You see Delino DeShields 5th right now in the American League. Elvis Andrus 23rd. Excuse me, with his 23 is 6th. Ruben Odor's got a dozen as well. That'll put him 26th in the American League. This Ranger team has run, and they have run well here in 2017. Fake go there by Elvis Andrus. That pitch is a ball, count now 2-0. Throw over to first base. I had asked Jeff Bannister about that fake break because we've seen Mike Napoli do it this year as well, and asking why they do that. And the idea, and I thought this was pretty interesting, I'd not heard this before, but the idea behind that fake break is to try to maybe get the catcher to come out of his crouch a little bit earlier. Did you hear that before, Tom?
No.
So maybe if he comes out of his crouch a little bit earlier, he ends up actually botching the ball or not catching it as cleanly, and there's a potential for a wild pitch or a pass ball with Delino DeShields on third base.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to keep, right, of course, the hitter on his toes, and or the pitcher, excuse me, making him think that maybe you would steal, but you actually might be able to buy yourself either a mistake pitch if the pitcher thinks the runner is going, but then also that catcher maybe coming out of his crouch just a little bit early, especially they think if they want to do it on what they think might be an off-speed pitch. So if you think about a curveball going down, if that catcher comes out of his crouch too early, that could turn into a wild pitch. It's amazing, right? I mean, obviously you've been around this game a lot longer than I have. You feel like you've heard it all. You feel like you've pretty much cornered every potential strategy. And some of them you'll hear some things and you'll say, wow, come on, that's kind of silly. But
well, it's not an often employed strategy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd see it more often than we do. But I guess occasionally it's probably a pretty good idea.
Pick the right catcher, maybe, right? The one that you might think might be a little bit lazy or over anxious, whatever it is, about the way that he catches. That one misses way outside. Count now 3-1 to Adrian Beltre. Runners at first and third. Delano DeShields led things off with a base hit. He stole second base. Rougned Odor struck out. Delano DeShields also stole third base, so still 2 stolen bases for him in this inning. Elvis Andrus had walked as well. And pitch number 20 for Miguel Gonzalez in this inning is coming up, and the Rangers continue to work him well. You see what he's done overall of the strikes to total pitches, Tom. Not a good one.
No, he's working hard. He's seen the first 3 games. He has seen how the Rangers are swinging the bats, and he's trying to keep that from happening again today. So he's being cautious. Doesn't have overpowering stuff. It makes sense to pitch that way. But the Rangers are making him work right now. Adrian with a 3-1 count, good hitter spot. Love to get a pitch up in the strike zone that he can drive in the air. He took the 2-0 pitch down around the knees. He'd be more apt to hit that on the ground.
Here comes the 3-1 from Gonzalez, and it misses downstairs. So ball 4, back-to-back walks for the Rangers against Gonzalez, and that means the bases will be loaded for the always dangerous Nomar Mazara.
Second straight inning that the Rangers have had 2 walks and a hit to load the bases with 1 out. This time it's the Rangers' best RBI man, Nomar Mazara. He's had 83 runs batted in this year, and he's been hot. He walked in the second inning, 18 for his last 39 over the last 10 games. That's a .462 average. So there's a lot of guys who, if they were up right now, you'd say this is the guy you like to see up here, and definitely Nomar is one of them.
Well, this will be the 3rd at-bat already for the Texas Rangers with the bases loaded. They went 0 for 2 in the second inning. Drew Robinson and Brett Nicholas flew out. See Nomar 5 for 12 this year with the bases loaded. Right man, right spot. He's been excellent with runners in scoring position. .325 this season. The Rangers overall hitting .247. The bases loaded and a couple of grand slams. First pitch swung on and fouled. And you look at Miguel Gonzalez and you wonder about matchups. There are 5 left-handed hitters in the Ranger lineup this afternoon. He's got pretty even splits. .279 batting average against lefties coming into today. .280 against righties. So pretty much right down the middle, and 8 home runs. Now, of course, he's got less at-bats against left-handed hitters, but of the 16 home runs that he has given up this year, 8 to lefties and 8 to righties. And here's the 0-1. That fastball misses inside. Count now even 1-1. Nomar Mazara 2 for 6 in last night's ball game. Double RBI for him. He also scored a run. And here's the 1-1, and it swung on and popped up high on the left side. Shallow left field. Garcia is there. He makes the catch. So no one will advance. The bases will stay loaded. The Rangers now 0 for 3 this afternoon with the bases loaded. That's going to bring up Joey Gallo.
Yeah, the same result right there with the bases loaded and 1 out. An inning earlier, he got Drew Robinson to pop up toward the left side. And this time he gets Nomar to pop up. Now with 2 outs, see if Joey Gallo can do some damage.
Well, Joey Gallo, the only Ranger in the starting lineup to not get a hit yesterday. He went 0 for 2, but he did have 3 walks. He's already got a walk here today. And so He has certainly been seeing the baseball very well, doing a nice job of laying off pitches out of the zone. That's been one of the biggest improvements I think we have seen from Joey Gallo, and a big opportunity here with the bases loaded.
Well, Joey has shown recently that he will make the pitcher throw a strike. He has a good hitter's count right now, 1-0. Can look for his pitch. Gonzalez will still try to be careful, try to get him to swing at something on the fringe.
That changeup is taken off the plate. Called the ball. Joey has had 11 plate appearances in his short career with the bases loaded, but he has cashed in 4 for 10. That's good for a .400 batting average, 9 RBIs in those opportunities. But he has yet to hit that first grand slam. Pretty good matchup for him right now. 2-0 count against Miguel Gonzalez. He takes a fastball downstairs. Count now 3-0. And there are those numbers. This season 2 for 5, 60 pitches so far here for Gonzalez as well. And so my question to you, Tom Grieve, green light for Joey Gallo?
No, no green light. 3-0. I want to get that first run in. Having trouble throwing a strike. I've got to make him throw at least 2 strikes in a row.
That makes sense. 4 walks so far for Miguel Gonzalez in this game, 2 of them in this inning. And Joey Gallo does go hacking 3-0.
Well, if you're going to swing 3-0, you have to get a good pitch to hit, and he got a good pitch to hit. So it worked out fine. If he took that pitch, it would have been a strike anyway. As it is, he got warmed up with a great swing.
It's a big hack from Joey Gallo. We know that. That's how he treats everyone. But it's been an interesting conversation, too, with 3-0 counts and how some hitters look at it. And it seems more and more they're thinking, well, I may not get a better pitch to hit. As long as you're disciplined enough to swing at strikes. Well, here is a 3-1 pitch and another one that looked pretty good to hit, but Joey Gallo fouls that one off as well. And so the count will now go full 3-2.
Gonzalez is very careful the first time up, very careful through the first 3 pitches of this at bat, and then said, okay, I'm not going to walk a man with the bases loaded. Here's my 2 best fastballs, threw them right down the middle of the plate. Joey had 2 great swings, fouled them both off. See if he throws 3 straight fastballs near the middle of the plate.
Well, here's the 3-2, and it is another fastball, and it is popped up to the right side over at first base. And that's Nicky Delmonico who makes the catch, and the inning is over. No runs for the Rangers. We'll go to the 4th. You by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. and by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer now during the Ford Summer Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Well, no score here so far through 3 complete in Arlington. And a warm, sunny afternoon. Let's take a look at A.J. Griffin. His last 3 starts since coming off the DL, Tom. There are the numbers. The big thing for him, what he talked about, trying to get maybe a little bit deeper in games, but not too bad here for A.J.
Yeah, no, A.J. was talking about he's very pleased with his ability to increase his pitch count, get it up around 100 pitches. And now the next step is to throw that same amount of pitches and get an extra inning or so out of the appearance.
Well, you see it there now. 51 pitches for A.J. Griffin through his 3+ innings as he's facing Nicky Delmonico. He walked Delmonico back in the first inning. That was after a Jose Abreu double, but A.J. was able to get out of that inning, and that pitch misses. The count now 3-0. That one misses downstairs. So a 4-pitch walk, and you see the frustration there from A.J. Griffin. Well, fans, you're going to want to head out to the ballpark for this Star Wars weekend. That's going to happen on Saturday, September 2nd. And the first 15,000 fans will receive a Rangers Star Wars bobblehead, courtesy of Globe Life Insurance. Make sure you get your Rangers and Angels tickets for that September 2nd game at TexasRangers.com. Now, who is that? Did they say who it was?
I don't know. I'm embarrassed to say I don't know who it is.
Is it a Star Wars dude?
Someone's going to let us know sooner or later, but I don't know who it is.
Generic guy? And everyone gets a bobblehead these days. Why not generic guy get one? All right, so the word is out, Tom. We got to the bottom of it.
That was quick.
That is Jonathan Lucroy, former Ranger, current Colorado Rocky.
Well, no wonder we didn't know who it was.
You can't
Haven't
go back.
Haven't seen him in a long time.
Well, 0-2 now as A.J. Griffin gets ahead of Garcia, and there's a chopper hit to third base. Joey Gallo, long throw.
That's a great play by Joey Gallo.
Is an unbelievable play at third base. But think about it. We talked about the great defense that Adrian Beltre has been playing all year, but he is DHing tonight. And check out Joey Gallo. Clean backhand, long throw. Uh-oh. But not in time. I mean, even in
yeah, Joey makes a nice play backhanding it, shows his arm strength, but Garcia runs pretty well. He was able to beat that ball out. Doesn't take anything away from the nice play that Joey made, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Even in those instances, right, where he is safe, it still shows you the ability, and a nice job by Joey Gallo. We know he's got the great strong arm, but nevertheless, it is a base hit and 2 base runners reaching to start off this 4th inning against A.J. Griffin. Omar Narvaez will step in. 0 for 1 with a fly out back in the 2nd inning. You see the overall numbers for Narvaez. He has hit into 6 double plays this year, but that's not really A.J. Griffin's game. He is not a ground ball pitcher, just a 29% ground ball rate. That's going to be one of the lowest in the league among starters. And he's now behind in the count, 2-0 to Narvaez. After meeting with Brett Nicholas, A.J. Griffin back on the mound, ready to deliver his 2-0. That fastball is called a strike. Changeup misses outside. Count goes to 3-1 for AJ Griffin, who has shown some frustration here this inning. A leadoff walk to Delmonico. That was on just 4 pitches, and then the infield base hit has put him in this first and second nobody out situation. And this one is hit right back up the middle, and that's going to be a base hit. Delmonico will come around third. He'll score easily as Delano DeShields bobbles that baseball. Garcia will go to third, and it is an RBI base hit for Omar Narvaez, and the White Sox take a 1-0 lead.
And Narvaez has had good at-bats in this series against the Rangers. Came into the game hitting .270. Hit that ball hard. Ripped it back up the middle. He's had some playing time too. He's had 192 at-bats. The other thing he does is he walks. 30 walks and 33 strikeouts. Got an on-base percentage of over .370. So he's done a nice job behind the plate for the White Sox.
The first run of the game is across the board, and that'll bring Doug Brocail out to talk to his starting pitcher, AJ Griffin. No error on that play for Delano DeShields, the official scorer believing that Avisel Garcia was going to go to third base regardless. Tim Anderson will step in here against AJ Griffin. Anderson grounded out to Elvis Andrews. That was in the second inning. 1 of 2 ground outs off of AJ Griffin today, who does have a couple of strikeouts, but 3 walks as well so far through his 3+ innings of work. And there's a pitch and a ground ball. Joey Gallo. He's going to come home, and they're going to have Avisel Garcia in a rundown. Nicholas back to Gallo. Now to AJ Griffin, who puts the tag on. And Garcia is out. Narvaez will go to third. Anderson to second. 5-2, 5-1. If you're scoring at home, but more importantly, the first out of the inning here for the Rangers.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get the out, but you want to get this out and leave men at first and second. When you run them down, you've got to get the out at third base. The throw is too soon, and now you get the pitcher involved in it. The out is at the plate, and both runners move up to second and third. So it's nice to get the out. Joey makes a nice play, but Brett needs to run him back farther. He threw it too soon. Run it back farther, one throw, tag him, he's out, and both runners stay at first and second. Nice to get the out, but wasn't done as efficiently as you'd like to see it done.
That's one for me, Tom, is take a first pitch look at a fastball and misses. Whenever I work with young kids or running, helping out with teams, whatever it may be, always a big pet peeve of mine. We spent so much time in spring training over the years, right, working on those rundowns. And exactly as you said, if you do it right, it should be one throw. And I always tell the kids, don't dance with the runner. Sprint at him every single time and make him commit. Don't throw that ball until you have to.
No,
stuck in the middle a little bit, you really can run into some trouble.
You see it so many times at the big league level. The throw is made too soon. You throw it too soon, you just allow the rundown to last forever. Should be one throw and that's it.
Well, here's a slow breaking ball that is ripped down the left field line, and that is going to be a fair ball off the bat of Tyler Saladino. Here's the throw to second. Saladino will be safe. Narvaez and Anderson will score, and so it is a 2 RBI, 1 out double for Tyler Saladino, and now the Chicago White Sox expand their lead to 3-0 against the Rangers.
Well, Saladino got a good pitch to hit, a belt high pitch out over the plate, and he took advantage of it. Saladino coming into this game had been up 185 times and knocked in 6 runs. So that 2 RBI hit allows him to go from 6 RBIs to 8.
Some struggles here for AJ Griffin in the top of the 4th inning. It was a leadoff walk back-to-back base hits before the fielder's choice, and now that 2 RBI double by Tyler Saladino. And the number 9 hole hitter, Adam Engel, will step in here for the White Sox. He takes a fastball count even now 1-1. Engel flew out to center field last inning. Takes that pitch off the plate, count now 2-1. See Rougned Odor now talking to his starting pitcher. It looked like trying to get him fired up there just a little bit. Rookie's done a nice job. We've watched this year from him, where he's really taken on a leadership role in that infield, even though you have Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus out there most days. Odor has really taken it upon himself to kind of take the lead a little bit in situations like this. And that foul ball will now even the count at 2-2. And that's impressive when you see that from a 23-year-old kid who has the confidence to go talk to his pitchers, call a meeting if he feels like it's necessary. That's not an easy thing for a lot of players at that age, Tom.
No, it isn't. And, you know, as you grow up as a ball player, he's been in the big leagues for a couple of years now, few years. Becoming a leader is part of the deal. If you want to accept that responsibility, I'll hit him.
Apparently so, and so it's going to be a hit by pitch for Engel on the slow breaking ball from A.J. Griffin. Kind of a tough break there for A.J. Let's take a look at this.
Well, if you're going to get hit by a pitch, that's one to get hit with, and that's pretty close to leaning into it.
I mean, come on.
I'm not sure if he went toward it or not, but I guess when you're 0 for 11, 0 for 12 with 4 strikeouts in the series, you're going to try to get on base any way you can.
That is extremely frustrating, I got to believe. And if A.J. Griffin sees that thing in slow motion, he'll probably get even more annoyed. You're right. You do have to make an attempt. The rule is that you have to make at least some kind of attempt to get out of the way. I'm not sure we saw that.
Actually, you can just stand there. You don't have to try to get out of the way. You can't go toward the ball. But he moved. I don't know what it looked like to you, but I thought he moved toward the ball.
That's what it looked like. And not only that, it seemed like it only nicked his jersey. Should have to hurt a little bit. Well, here's a fly ball off of the bat of Garcia, who swings first pitch again. And after a couple of strikeouts, now he's got a fly out to left.
You don't have to go back, but let's see. I think the left shoulder went toward the ball personally. Now, that's pretty tough for us to discern in slow motion. It's impossible for James Hoy, who's the home plate umpire, to know whether he went toward him or not. He turned his body, and I would say probably 100% of the time that's going to be called a hit by pitch, and not that he intentionally tried to get hit.
We hope that his jersey sleeve is okay and will not have to go on the DL.
Yeah, there have been some pitchers in the big leagues who at some point in time will say, if you don't mind getting hit, the next one's not going to be a slow curveball. Let's see if you want to get in front of this one. But at the same time, if you're a hitter and you're trying to get base runners and you're struggling a little bit, hey, fine. Try to get on base. Been a lot of hitters that have done that over the years, haven't mind getting hit. Cesar Tovar was a master at that.
The great Don Baylor, who sadly passed away recently, got hit by pitches a ton. Craig Biggio.
Ron Hunt was the master. He got hit who knows how many times. Yeah, Don Baylor, I just always felt with Don Baylor, he didn't move because he didn't care. It wasn't going to hurt that body anyway. He'll take the base. Most of us get out of the way because we don't want to get hurt. I always had the feeling that you couldn't throw it hard enough to hurt Don Baylor.
25th pitch of the inning here for A.J. Griffin is on the way. You see the total 73 so far here through 4 2/3, but he does have the 0-2 count to Sanchez, who takes a fastball out of the zone, count 1-2. I always looked at Don Baylor. I remember watching him as a kid. He almost seemed like he took on that role of enforcer, like you have on a hockey team. Like he had that kind of presence to him.
I saw Don Baylor one time against the Rangers. Start from the dugout. Roy Howell was playing third base for the Rangers, and he just started screaming at Roy Howell in the middle of the game for no reason. And he was trying to get Roy Howell to fight, just to have a fight on the field to shake up his own team because they were struggling at the time. So yeah, I think he definitely took on that role, leadership. That might be going a little overboard, but.
Well, the slow breaking ball is swung on and missed, and this inning will come to an end, but not before the White Sox score 3 runs, and they are the first runs of the game. It's 3-0 White Sox over the Rangers. Some work to do as they trail the White Sox 3-0, but it is now time for the big story. And let's take a look at what's going on in Los Angeles. Yu Darvish, former Ranger, was placed on the 10-day DL time, but the Dodgers get a pretty interesting piece in Curtis Granderson.
Yeah, they sent out one of their top young players, at least potentially, and Jock Peterson sent him to the minor leagues, looking more for a veteran player, and they picked up Curtis Granderson, who is definitely a veteran player. And we'll see how he can help the Dodgers the last 6 weeks. Doesn't seem like the Dodgers need a whole lot of help, but they got a nice veteran player and a great teammate in Curtis Granderson. Not the first time Yu Darvish has been on the disabled list, but I'm sure with the lead that they've got, it's kind of a precautionary thing. Make sure Yu is 100% as they get ready for postseason play.
Adding some depth, as you mentioned, already a really good team. 87 wins there for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Granderson at 36 years old, he was hitting just .226 with the Mets, but he had a very respectable .331 on base percentage. That's probably part of it. And Jock Peterson struggling somewhat, so he was sent down to AAA, probably just here for a couple of weeks until rosters expand in September. It has become a very interesting year here for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Great team. We talked about this a couple of nights ago, whether or not they'll have a chance to top the Seattle Mariners win record, 116 wins back in 2001. But I saw a thing, Tom, somebody wrote a story and said, well, okay, Dodgers have a great year, however many games they win. They win 110 games, but they don't win the World Series. It's not a failure. And I'm kind of like, yeah, at this point for them, it kind of is. I mean, listen, to win the World Series is difficult. It's unfair to say you have to win the World Series. But at the end of the year, yeah, you might have had a good year, but if you won 110 or 95, who cares if you don't have the ring at the end, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a failure, just because, you know, I buy into what people have said a lot, that it takes a lot of skill over 162 games to be the best team. In other words, there's no doubt who the best teams are over 6 months and 162 games. It's not always true in postseason because so many things can happen. A team peaks right at the right time, they get hot, a team cools off a little bit. Doesn't really have anything to do with who the best team is in the postseason. So I won't call it a failure. However, I would definitely say it would be a major disappointment to have that kind of a season and not go all the way for sure.
Yeah, that's probably a better way, I think, to describe it. And we'll see what happens ultimately, you know, with these Dodgers in the postseason. And it's been a lot of fun to watch if you're a Dodger fan, but they have won their division what will be a 5th year in a row. Well, here is another base hit after the Mike Napoli base hit. And so the Rangers go back-to-back thanks to Drew Robinson, his first hit of the night, the afternoon.
I'd love to see that at bat for Drew Robinson. The last time up, first pitch hitting, he was just a teeny bit late on the same pitch. This time he was right on it. He'd seen it one time. He's first pitch hitting again. This time he gets out in front of it, gets the barrel on the ball and rips it into right field. Well, that's a good adjustment, a good at bat. The Rangers, as they've done several times over the last 10 days, get behind early and trying to make a comeback.
So with nobody out and a couple of runners on, that brings up Brett Nicholas, the starting catcher today, with Robinson Chirinos getting a day off.
I think one thing that stands out when you look at Drew Robinson's performance, the number one thing he's got going for him, he's got a beautiful swing. But then you look at the fact he's only hitting 200, but he's walked 11 times. So his on-base percentage is over 370. They're just, in today's game, there aren't a lot of guys that can get an extremely high amount of walks. And once he gets his batting average up there and continues to walk, then the on-base percentage gets even better. That's a nice quality for a young player who's not playing every day, to be a patient hitter.
He has shown some good power as well. A big home run for Drew Robinson that he hit in his first big league start at Yankee Stadium. A nice moment for him. He's shown power at the minor league level as well. So taking advantage of some playing time, and we'll see what kind of player Drew Robinson can ultimately be here with the Rangers. But a big base hit to get the Rangers to first and second and nobody out. Brett Nicholas now will try to do his part to chip in as the Rangers are going to try to climb back from this 3-0 deficit. And this one is lifted high on the right side near the foul line. Delmonico was there, but now Sanchez will call him off and he'll make the catch. And infield fly rule was called as well. So Brett Nicholas is retired. One out here in the 4th. Well, tickets for groups of 20 or more start at only $12 and offer great savings off gate prices. Group pricing is available in 9 different seating areas, plus the all-inclusive Cholula all-you-can-eat seats. Learn more about the group savings offered for every Rangers game at texasrangers.com/group. That's the place to be right there. Get a little shade. Great view of the ballpark as well. Well, Delano DeShields now will step in here, and he squares the bunt, and this one will be foul. One out, Delano most likely trying to bunt for a hit in that spot. Certainly not a sacrifice. He's 0 for 2 so far today. He's got a strikeout and a single and 2 stolen bases. He stole both second and third back in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, there's different ways of looking at that bunt. One way is that's Delano's game: speed, make things happen, run the bases, extend a rally. You're down by 3 runs. The other way to look at it is he's been one of the Rangers' hottest hitters, and you'd like to see him drive one in the gap, knocking a couple runs. He's been playing so well and doing every part of his game so well that I think when you look at it both ways, he's capable of making things happen with a bunt, making things happen by swinging the bat.
'75th pitch of the night coming up here for Miguel Gonzalez. Afternoon. It's a day game. And it's really sunny and beautiful out. Yeah, it's like the 5th time I've said tonight.
I can sense that it's a day game.
I even wrote it down as if I had to be reminded that it was sunny out today. Gonzalez getting ready to deliver his 76th pitch on the 2-1 count to Delano DeShields, and it is a fastball that is fouled straight back. That'll even the count 2-2.
Well, last night in the game, Delano had a couple of doubles. A little later in the game, he had 2 strikes. 2-2 was the count, and he shortened up his swing and just hit a hard shot, ground ball right between first and second into right field. Short, quick swing.
Well, here's the pitch, and there is another foul ball off the bat of Delino DeShields. It's been a good homestand for Delino. He is now 12 for 30. That does include his at-bats this afternoon. That's good for a .400 batting average. Mentioned those couple of doubles, 3 for him on this homestand. 6 walks as well for Delino DeShields, playing some great baseball. 4 stolen bases on the homestand. Here's a 2-2, and that one misses high and tight. Almost caught Delino DeShields on the hand, but that now will give Delino DeShields a full count here against Miguel Gonzalez. Couple of runners on, 1 out, bottom of the 4th inning. The White Sox scored 3 in the top of this inning, and now the Rangers trying to answer back. There's that 3-2, and this one is lined to right field, but Garcia's got a beat on it, and he'll make the catch.
Well, what a shame. What a good at bat. Did the same thing he did on that base hit late in the game. Just shortened his swing, concentrated on going back through the middle with a line drive stroke, and did exactly what he was trying to do. Waited on the ball, nice short swing, hit it as solidly as he could, and unfortunately went right straight to Garcia in right field.
7 pitches for Delino DeShields as well in that at bat, but unfortunately hit it right at Garcia. But he continues to put quality at bats together. I think that's the important part. Hitting the ball hard, doing everything he has to do. He's shown some frustration there, but a quality at bat for Delino DeShields, and that'll bring up now Rougned Odor with 2 outs and a couple of runners on. Odor struck out twice, once in the 1st, once in the 3rd. .26 home runs on the year for Odor. He goes swinging at the first pitch and hits it hard, but foul.
I guarantee you there's 5 fans that said, thank goodness there's a screen in front of that one. That one's impossible to get out of the way. You just can't anticipate a left-hand hitter pulling it that foul. And boy, if you're gonna be at a ball game with little kids and you're going to sit in the front row, I would do everything possible to be behind a screen.
Yeah, and see that kind of reaction.
Yeah.
Like that one would have caught him right on the kneecap, and he might not even been looking at the time. The screen saves the day. It caught a bat earlier on the Chicago White Sox side. That broken bat we saw go into the screen. Rougned Odor hits a ground ball to the right side. Delmonico will take it himself and step on the bag. And so despite a couple of base hits from Mike Napoli and Drew Robinson, no runs here in the bottom of the 4th for the Texas Rangers. Rangers here at the top of the 5th inning. Well, make sure you join Fox Sports Southwest for Texas Football Days. That's beginning August 28th, where you can watch classic high school football games daily, and that'll be leading up to the first ever live doubleheader of high school football. That'll be followed by college football across the Fox family of networks. Make sure you go to foxsportssouthwest.com for details. There was a nice message up on the big board here in between innings. Chuck Morgan, the Rangers, doing a nice job congratulating and wishing the best of luck to Hawk Harrelson, TV voice of the Chicago White Sox, who will be retiring after this season. 34 years in the TV booth for the White Sox.
But when you hear that voice, you know which team he's rooting for. Put it on the board. Yes.
There's Hawk calling the game from inside the comforts of some closed windows and air conditioning today in the booth next to us. 97 degrees was game time temperature. Tom and I a little bit more brave, if you don't mind saying.
Yeah, we were talking before the game. I've never broadcast a game with a window closed.
Now, do you know how many total games you keep track of? Anybody keep track of them for you?
No, I don't. 20-something years, 23 years. 2,000, 3,000, somewhere around 3,000 games probably.
Now Steve Hunt's got something to do. Well, Jose Abreu hits a fly ball to center field.
He's not that bored.
One out here.
There's been some cold ones. Mark Holtz and I broadcast a game from Milwaukee one day that was about as cold as it gets. Steve Busby and I broadcast a game from Wrigley Field where it was damp and in the 30s and windy. That one was pretty cold.
Now, were you at least tempted to close the window a little bit, or were you just like, nope, not doing it, no chance?
Nope. We talked about it and brought warm clothes. It was pretty cold, but that sense of pride that you feel at the end of the game. Not giving in to the weather. The players can play in it. We can stand here and broadcast it.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to look at it. Now, have you ever had a partner at all that's kind of like, oh, what do you think? Like maybe tried to talk.
Never let it get that far. Never let it get there. It never became a topic because before they could bring it up, I always said we'd never broadcast a game with the windows down. And that was kind of like the message. See, like today when you were trying to get you were trying to do that. Hey, look, they got the windows closed over there.
That is so unbelievably accurate as I was trying to throw it out there, but Tom shut it down right away.
I can sniff that kind of thing out in a hurry. Dave's going to probably try to do the same thing.
Well, those guys sure look pretty comfortable over there.
Yeah, but when the game's over, I know what I'm thinking about them.
That's right. That's right. So we win the manhood award as here is a bunt from Nicky Delmonico. A.J. Griffin's going to have to hurry, and Delmonico beats it out for an infield base hit with one out here in the top of the fifth.
Well, Delmonico's been on base all 3 times. He's walked a couple of times, and now he's got a bunt single to go along with it. You don't really even have to try to fool somebody that you're bunting with a drag bunt. You pretty much squared right around like a sacrifice bunt if you get it down accurately like that.
Delmonico has been impressive. We have seen from him, we mentioned it even leading into this series. A couple of home runs that he hit against the Los Angeles Dodgers as there's a throw over to first, a former 6th-round pick back in 2011. Was originally drafted by the Baltimore Orioles, but this was his first taste of the big leagues, and he's done an excellent job so far in this his 17th game at the big league level. Tony Barnett now up in the Ranger bullpen. Breaking ball fouled straight back. It's so interesting, and this happens so many times, Tom. You follow the path of certain players' careers, and like you mentioned, it's only been a handful of games here for Nicky Delmonico so far. But he was the guy mentioned, drafted by the Baltimore Orioles. He was traded to the Brewers in the Francisco Rodriguez deal. That was back in July of 2013. And then in spring training of 2015, he was released by the Milwaukee Brewers, flat out released as there's a little broken bat base hit to left field. It'll be first and second and nobody out. Delmonico to second, Avisail Garcia to first. So back-to-back base hits despite the fact that no one's hit one off the barrel here against A.J. Griffin in the 5th.
Yeah, Garcia out in front of it. Nice swing at it. Did not hit the good part of the bat. Checking to make sure his bat's not rotten or something. Want to smell it and see what it smelled like, I guess. Ted Williams started that. Ted Williams, I remember him asking the players at the All-Star game that year, can you smell wood burning when you foul one straight back? And of course you can. If you just tick one off the bat, you can smell that. It does create enough friction to where it smells like burning wood. I don't know if you can do it. Maybe you can on that one. If you hit it right off the end of the bat and the ball spins off the end of the bat. I don't know if it smells that far after contact though. And I don't really know exactly what it means. It's not a mark of a good hitter. It can happen to anybody. A pitcher could do it.
And if a pitcher can do it with a bat, well, certainly.
A fan could. I don't know if a fan could generate enough bat speed. You have to have a certain amount of bat speed, I guess.
Maybe our progressive fan of the day could do it. If you're saying pitchers swing it that slow, Tom, I see what you're getting at. AJ Griffin will have some work to do now as Omar Narvaez steps in. Narvaez did have a hit back in the third inning, drove in a run. It was Nicky Delmonico that he drove in back in the fourth. And here's a ground ball to Rougned Odor. He goes to Elvis to second. One over to first. Double play, and the inning is over. And so A.J. Griffin makes the pitch that he's got to make for the 4-6-3 inning double play. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth. The Rangers trailing by 3.
The Rangers by a score of 3-0 here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, and the Rangers have got the White Sox exactly where they want them. You take a look at today's State Farm winning combination and what they've been able to do against this team the last couple of nights, overcoming deficits of 5 runs and 4 runs and 5 runs respectively. So 3 runs, no big deal, right? That should turn into an automatic W for this team, the way they've been able to come back, especially here of late, guys.
Thanks, Emily. And you're right. The offense is certainly capable of doing that. We've talked a lot about the high-powered offense, the home runs, the on base, the batting average as well lately for the Texas Rangers. So certainly the confidence is high that they'll be able to recover from something like this. And swings like that from Elvis Andrus will certainly help. But the Bengals able to run it down. Well hit line out there to start this 5th inning by Elvis Andrus.
Boy, 2 out of the last 3 hitters that hit the ball just like that. Delino with 1 out and 2 men on last inning hit a shot right at Garcia in right field. Now leading off this inning, Elvis almost hit that ball off over Adam Engel's head. Engel had a sprint right at the end to catch that ball. Hard hit smash right there to lead off the inning.
So 1 pitch in 1 out, and that'll bring up Adrian Beltre. Beltre 0 for 1 today, struck out in the 2nd, walk in the 3rd, and he takes a fastball for a strike. 0-1. You watch a game like this, Tom, and we see this happen. A guy like Miguel Gonzalez, who has struggled some, has been better as of late, but has struggled some. We see a lot of hard hit balls. And it kind of takes on that feel like, yeah, it's just a matter of time before the Rangers are going to be able to get to him, and will get to him. But the other side of that is if a guy does settle in, or if he just gets lucky long enough and gets out of the game in time. So it doesn't always work out the way we think it will.
I think that's what it's looking at right now. He's getting lucky long enough, and he's going to run out of pitches. This will be his 85th pitch. Bases loaded, 1 out in the second. Bases loaded, 1 out in the third. First and second, nobody out in the fourth. And you know, I'm not going to I can't call it lucky. That's not fair, because he pitched his way out of those jams. So I think that's your first reaction, but I think you have to give him credit for figuring out how to get out of those innings, 3 innings in a row as well.
I think you're right. That's certainly fair. I think just looking at a couple of these hard hit balls at times, but he has done a good job where, you know, he got Rougned Odor to ground out to end the 4th inning. That was a big one. And then, of course, Nomar Mazara, Joey Gallo with the pop-ups when they had the bases loaded in the 3rd, making some good pitches. And he did that both in the 2nd and the 3rd.
Yeah, he got
the Rangers had the bases loaded.
4 pop-ups. Sure did.
Well, here's the 2-2, a hard hit ground ball, but right at Tim Anderson. And there's the throw to first base. And Adrian Beltre is retired. Hey, let's take a Chevy Green break. Where is Rick Renner? What's up, Rick?
Right fielder, Nomar Mazara.
Appreciate it, Rick. Thank you. As we certainly enjoy tracking the progress of the season for Giancarlo Stanton. It has been a big year for him with the power. We know home runs across the board have been all over the place. The power hitters really showing it off, but Giancarlo Stanton especially. He hit some big ones, Tom, but he's really had a nice year.
It's been amazing. He got hot and he stayed hot. Big lead in the home run derby, that's for sure.
Joey Gallo tied with Mike Moustakas with 35.
Has also raised his batting average up into the mid 280s. So not only is he hitting home runs, he's becoming a better and better hitter as well.
Yeah, 285 coming into today with a 640 slugging percentage. It's almost hard to believe that, you know, Giancarlo Stanton here now in his 7th full season had never hit 40 home runs before. I know he's had injuries. It's just kind of surprising, and it is a big ballpark, but I don't even know if that matters that much with him.
What's his on-base percentage? Has he walked
coming
a lot?
into today, 382.
That's pretty good. In fact, it's very good. Watch out. Oh, boy. That didn't hit the screen.
A bit of a pause here as they'll check on that fan. You know, the important thing in those situations is when those things happen is to make sure that everyone is still paying attention and ready. When Nomar Mazara steps into the box, you don't want anybody with their back to the action after an incident like that. And here's the 1-2, and Nomar lifts a high fly ball. Behind second base, Tim Anderson is there. Engel came in behind him, but Anderson is the one that makes the catch, and this inning is over, and it was a quick one for Miguel Gonzalez, just 10 pitches.
The Rangers trail 3-0, and this is our four-game summary. A ball down the left field line by Tyler Saladino brings in 2 runs, and that gives the White Sox a 3-0 lead. Saladino had only knocked in 6 runs all year long, but he cashed in right there with a well-hit ball, picked up 2 runs, and that gave the White Sox a 3-0 lead, and that's where we are right now as we head to the top of the 6th.
And AJ Griffin's afternoon is over. Tony Barnett now will step in here against Tim Anderson and the Chicago White Sox. There's that graphic for the game summary. Gonzalez has done a nice job. 5 innings pitched for him. And there's Barnett's first pitch, and it is out of the zone. Tom, to look at the arsenal here for Tony Barnett, the right-hander for the Rangers.
Well, Tony throws a cutter and a fastball almost 80% of the time. Cutter is a variation of a fastball. Primarily, if you're a hitter and you go to the plate against Tony, you're going to see a fastball or a cutter, something hard. And it's a matter of the location. If Tony can throw it in the direction he's trying to throw it, he'll have some pretty good success. But I think that's true with most pitchers, CJ. If you throw it where you're trying to throw it, you should have a lot of success.
Still working on that myself. Here's a high fly ball hit to left center field. Delano DeShields will coast over and make the catch, and Tim Anderson is retired here to start the top of the 6th inning. And let's take a look at our AT&T matchup for tomorrow. It's going to be the Angels, who we have talked about here a little bit, going up against the Texas Rangers. The Rangers will be traveling to Los Angeles after the game, but a couple of the best when you talk about some sluggers, both Dominican-born Adrian Beltre, Albert Pujols. 609 home runs. That is the most among active players. Adrian's 458. Will put him 3rd. There's a cutter that misses off the plate from Tony Barnett. One to Saladino, and there is a fastball called strike. Tony's been throwing the ball pretty well. You go back to the beginning of July 1st, 2.65 ERA for him in his 11 games. A whip below 1, that's certainly always a good sign when you look at the walks and the hits per innings pitched. 17 innings, 22 strikeouts for Tony Barnett going back to July 1st. And, I think as we look at this team, and of course we always look at the season-long numbers for everybody and you get an idea how their year has gone. That's one thing. But at this point, as the Rangers came into today just a game and a half back of the wild card, what matters now is what you've done recently and what you're going to do the rest of the year. You can kind of say cut the season in half, but really look at what your guys are doing right now, and is your roster good enough, strong enough? And Tony Barnett has been one of the arms coming out of this Ranger bullpen that has thrown very well as of late. And there is a strikeout of Tyler Saladino. You see it there, a game and a half back. The Royals and the Mariners in front, as well as the Angels and the Twins. Some work to do, but the Rangers are certainly right in it.
And we'll start out with the Angels for 4 straight games. Big series right there. In Oakland, and then going to Houston to end up that trip. A long trip, 10 days. Have an off day in there on Monday in Houston. And when you look at the competitors in that wild card race, several of them are winning today. Kansas City is beating Cleveland by 4. Angels were ahead by 1 late in that ball game in Baltimore. Minnesota had a huge lead over Arizona. So to keep pace with several of those teams, the Rangers are going to have a rally here.
There's a cutter swung on and missed. You mentioned the 3-city trip for the Rangers. That'll be number 6 on the season. They have 1 more left after that in the middle of September. Go back to Los Angeles, Seattle, and Oakland. And that'll make 7 three-city trips for the Texas Rangers this year. That is the most in Major League Baseball since 2006. That one is swung on and missed, and a nice job by Tony Barnett. Just 12 pitches, and it records 2 strikeouts. I mentioned how well he has been throwing as of late. Well, that has continued for Tony Barnett and his Rangers bullpen. They'll go to the bottom of the 6th, try to get on the board. It's time for the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Today's jackpot is worth $100 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. And today the Rangers will be hitting for Sonia Fisher of Prosper, Texas. If a Texas Ranger hits a home run during this inning, she will win $100. But if a Texas Ranger hits a grand slam in this inning, Sonia will win $25,000. So good luck, Sonia. Rangers could certainly use that grand slam in this inning. Joey Gallo will lead things off here against Miguel Gonzalez, who was out for his 6th inning of work. You see the pitch count at 92. No one up right now in that Chicago White Sox bullpen.
Yeah, based on the first 3 games, I'm not surprised.
Rough go of it here as of late for the White Sox pen as Joey Gallo swings through a 1-0 fastball. Gonzalez did throw 100 pitches in his last start, over 6 innings of work, and he only allowed the 1 earned run against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Start before that, 105 pitches, but that got him through 8 innings. So we have seen the triple digits.
That angle's been used by the left-hand hitters several times today. It's a 3rd one hit over there. 1 hit the screen, 2 didn't.
Take a look at what Joey Gallo has done since the All-Star break. 14 home runs. That is tied for the 2nd most in Major League Baseball. Someone you would like to see that go to 15 here. The off-speed pitch is swung on and missed, and Joey Gallo goes down on strikes to start the 6th inning. There'll be an opportunity to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Night with your Texas Rangers on Friday, September 8th. It'll be presented by El Rancho Supermercado. It's the Rangers and the Yankees, 7:05 game time. There'll be live music on the concourse. And make sure you get your tickets right now at TexasRangers.com. Well, Mike Napoli swings at the first pitch, and he fouls it off. That strikeout of Joey Gallo was the first one for Miguel Gonzalez since the 3rd inning. Does have 5 now on the afternoon. You mentioned it earlier, Tom. Not necessarily a guy who is known for his strikeouts. As you see Aaron Bummer, the lefty, getting ready now in the White Sox bullpen. season high for Gonzalez in regard to strikeouts is 6. He's done that twice. The last time he did it was all the way back on May 28th against the Detroit Tigers. He's got 5 so far here this afternoon in Texas. There's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball taken for a called strike. 1-2 to Mike Napoli. This is the 138th start in the career of Miguel Gonzalez. He has struck out double digits. He did it once in his career. It was a couple of years ago against the New York Yankees. I mentioned 5 so far here tonight as he gets ready this afternoon, as he gets ready to throw pitch number 99.
Yeah, Gonzalez kind of, for his career, has been the definition of a pretty good 5th starter with Baltimore. He had 4 years with Baltimore, had a winning record and a .382 ERA. Kind of settling down in this game a little bit. Rangers have hit some balls hard, but to his credit, they have not been able to push one across the plate yet.
1-2 is fouled back. Gonzalez was released by the Baltimore Orioles 2 years ago, signed by the Chicago White Sox. Prior to the start of 2016. Would be a free agent at the end of this year. Two to Napoli, and it is swung on and missed, and there is strikeout number 6. And Mike Napoli was arguing and said that he foul tipped that ball. The home plate umpire James Hoy is saying no, he didn't foul tip it. It actually fell out of the glove on the exchange. Maybe that's what he's saying. Maybe he did foul tip it, but he is saying that Narvaez caught it cleanly, but then dropped it on the exchange when he went to throw the ball around the horn. We'll see.
Let's take a look and find out if that's what happened. He definitely fouled it off. And it's tough to say whether it was left. We might be able to tell from this angle if it was falling out of his glove. It's in the tip of his glove. Boy, that's close. That's close. I think it would have fallen out of his glove.
It looked like it rattled around in there a little bit.
I don't know if he had control of it. I mean, he's trying to catch the ball out of his glove, but I don't know if the ball actually stuck in his glove long enough. I guess in the minds of the umpires, it did. Tough call.
You're going to get a good look at it right here. Watch this ball rattle around, never really complete control, and then basically it wasn't like he was taking the ball out of his glove, because that's what the umpire was saying. James Hoy was saying, well, no, there was an exchange from the hand taking the baseball out of the glove. Well, it was almost like there was some space in there, and he was dropping the ball into his hand, and he was unable to hold it. So maybe a bad break there for the Texas Rangers. So Mike Napoli is down on strikes. That is strikeout number 6 now for Miguel Gonzalez, which does tie a season high for him.
Yeah, and looking at it in slow motion, it takes a couple of times to see exactly what happened. And then I'm not exactly sure what the ruling would be on that. But in real time, and for umpires that are 100 feet away to know exactly what happened with that ball, we're looking at it in slow motion and can't quite figure it out. At least I can't. Those guys do the job they do. They don't have the benefit of slow motion replay like we do. They'd probably be laughing at us if they had slow motion replay. They'd never make a mistake. They have to make the call to the best of their ability based on what they see when it happens in regular motion from far away. That's hard.
And Mark Wegner is the first base umpire. He's also the crew chief here on this umpiring crew. He probably had the best look at it at first base, but like you said, Tom, you see how far away he is. I mean, he's another, what, 30 feet past the bag, so he's at least 120 feet away.
Yeah, and think how good James Hoy, the home plate umpire, had to see that. He's behind the catcher, and he called it. The ball was in his glove. I don't know if it was there long enough or not, but he made the call. It was in the glove. It looked like he was taking the ball out of the glove with his hand. His hand was right there to get the ball. So he saw it as it happened from behind the catcher.
Well, 2 strikeouts here to lead off the 6th inning for the Rangers. Drew Robinson in a 2-2 count here. Nobody on base with the Rangers trailing 3-0, and there is a ball in the dirt. Count now 3-2. double barrels now in that Chicago White Sox bullpen. We had showed you Aaron Bummer earlier. Well, now it's Danny Farquhar, the righty, who has gotten up. He's called up from AAA Charlotte.
Another ball hit that way.
Let's take a look at our Kubota power stats for this afternoon. It's going to be about Miguel Gonzalez, who not living up to the billing here. You see what he's done on the road. 5.81 ERA this season. That's 4th worst among American League starters. Well, he doesn't really care about that. No runs so far through 5 2/3. And a full count pitch, and here's a ground ball to the second baseman Sanchez from the outfield grass. He fields it cleanly, makes a throw, and the inning is over. And so still no runs on the board for the Rangers against Miguel Gonzalez. The White Sox over the Rangers here in the top of the 7th. And Southwest Airlines, along with Dallas Love Field, invite you to join them in non-stoppable sweepstakes. Tweet where you want to get away and make sure you tag Southwest Air and use hashtag sweepstakes and hashtag non-stoppable for your chance to win a VIP experience for 2 and 25,000 Rapid Rewards points. Well, here's the White Sox box score. You see what has happened here so far. 6 hits for the White Sox. Avisel Garcia with a couple of base hits. But Luis Garcia will lead things off here in the top of the 7th inning against Tony Barnett. Barnett needed just 12 pitches to get through his 6th inning. Couple of strikeouts and a flyout for Tony Barnett. Garcia 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts for him today as well. Barnett's second pitch misses off the plate, count 2-0. There's a good fastball on the corner, 93 miles an hour. And here is a hard ground ball hit to the right side. That's going to get through for a base hit. And so the leadoff man, Garcia, reaches first base with nobody out here in the 7th.
Big swing by Garcia. Hit the ball hard, too. Getting a chance to play every day, show what he can do. He's definitely got value in that he can play a number of positions. He's playing the outfield right now, but he came up as a middle infielder. He can do a little bit of everything. Switch hitter, hitting pretty well from both sides of the plate. Over 300 from the right side, around 290 from the left side.
So Yolmer Sanchez now steps in against Tony Barnett. Barnett throws over to first. Keep an eye on Garcia, who is 8 for 13 in stolen base attempts this year. See the overall numbers for Sanchez. 0 for 2 so far today. He did walk back in the 3rd inning. Fastball on the corner, called strike 1. Sanchez has hit into 8 double plays so far this year. Tony Barnett is 46% ground ball rate. That's slightly above league average. League average usually sitting around 44%. And he's gotten himself 3 double plays this year. To Sanchez. That one misses off the plate. Count 1 and 2. I got to believe, Tom, that's probably it for Miguel Gonzalez. No official word yet. We haven't seen anything just yet. Yeah, what was he at? 105, 106 pitches, I think. Yeah, up over 100, 108 total. I mentioned he threw 100 last game, 108 the game before that. So I got to believe that'd probably be it. Yeah, he built up a high pitch count early in the ball game. Well, here's a ground ball. Elvis Andrus fields it. What a play in front of the bag. And over to Mike Napoli for the 6 unassisted 3 double play. And what a play by Elvis Andrus after the broken bat of Yolmer Sanchez. Yeah, the thing that you worried about was it was going to hit the bag before he could catch it. He scooped it up right before it was about to hit the bag. And then turned it about as quickly as he possibly could. Make sure he could get the runner running toward first base. So nice way to erase that base runner. Smooth play by Elvis. Great play there by Elvis Andrus. And the way that ball came off the back of the mound, almost like it rode the back of the mound and then stayed down. Never bounced. Incredible. Elvis Andrus continuing to impress with his 2017 season. Great job defensively. I've said it a bunch of times, and I'll say it again. I feel like he may be underrated nationally, the greatness of Elvis Andrus, the year that he is having this year, both defensively and offensively. Yeah, I think it's his best year all the way around. The other thing that you can't underestimate from Elvis, he plays every day. If he gets a day off, it's because the manager chose to give him a day off. That's been true his whole career. Jose Abreu 1 for 3. He had a double in the 1st inning off of AT Griffin. He's ahead in the count 2-1 against Tony Barnett. Strong numbers for Abreu. Consistency for him here in his 4th season in the big leagues. 24 home runs. That cutter misses off the plate. So Jose Abreu is way ahead in the count here, 3-1. Tom, you noted AT Griffin's approach to Jose Abreu earlier in this game. Those fastballs up and in, a bunch of them. A part of that, as a starting pitcher, is the idea of opening up the outside part of the plate for your relievers later in the game. And there is a fastball that is away, and Rougned Odor makes a nice running play, and Tony Barnett has himself back-to-back shutout innings. So nice job by the Rangers and their defense here in the 7th. Well, we're going to throw it now to PA announcer Chuck Morgan for God Bless America.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate and welcome Norris Perry. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Norris Perry will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Nothing to the White Sox. It's time for our AT&T high-speed replay. We're going to highlight Miguel Gonzalez, starting pitcher for the White Sox today, who's done a nice job. Mixed up his pitches well. He's been in trouble a number of times, and he's generally gotten out of it by pounding the top of the strike zone with his fastball. He ended up walking 4 in the game, back-to-back innings, second and third. He walked 2, but he struck out 6 and got some big outs when he needed them. And at the end of the day, he pitched 6 innings, 4 hits, and no runs. Nice outing for Miguel Gonzalez. That was our AT&T high-speed replay.
Well, Gonzalez is out and Danny Farquhar is in. Farquhar had his contract purchased. We mentioned this actually prior to last night's game. He was signed by the White Sox as a minor league free agent on 7/24. But there's the numbers that he has here with the, or had with the Tampa Bay Rays earlier this season.
There's been times where he's come in to pitch against the Rangers, particularly with Seattle, where he's been tough. Good solid fastball, big curveball. Done a nice job. So in the state of the White Sox bullpen, he could be a welcome addition.
We certainly need that help. And we'll see here for Danny Farquhar. Opportunity, as you said, Tom, some struggles in the Chicago White Sox bullpen. Brett Nicholas now will step in. In 3 pitches, Brett Nicholas is down on strikes. Let's take a look at the Rangers box score. Delano Shields stepping in, 1 for 3 so far today. Mike Napoli with a couple of base hits. Drew Robinson with a base hit as well. But it's been a relatively quiet offensive day here for the Rangers, who had an explosion last night. 17 runs on 20 hits. Both of those not only season highs, but the highest numbers that we have seen since 2012 for the Rangers. A little bit slower here today, and that's why we always talk about, well, it says one thing on paper, but got to go out there and play the game. It looked like a pretty good matchup against Miguel Gonzalez, but he had a nice day as Delano DeShields pops this one straight up. Couple of infielders converging, but it's Tim Anderson who makes the call behind home plate. Danny Farquhar's got himself 2 quick outs here against the Rangers.
The Rangers have popped up a lot of balls today. They've been right on some pitches, but just haven't been able to center them when they needed to.
Well, fans, you can get tickets to every home game in September for just $49 with the Rangers Fan Pass. The Fan Pass digitally delivers standing room only tickets directly to your phone via the MLB.com ballpark app. It also includes giveaway nights, rivalry matchups, and weekend games. Make sure you log on to TexasRangers.com/FanPass to purchase your Fan Pass today. And I love this idea, Tom. You and I had talked about it before, but the idea that basically you can come to every game in September if you wanted to for the price of $49, and there are great matchups in September here in Arlington.
All the big ones. See the Mariners, Yankees, Angels, a lot of competitors.
And that's essentially what, 17 baseball games, if I'm not mistaken. There's 17 home games in September. I'm no mathematician, but that's like about
less than $3.
It's about $2.88, 0.235, 294 somewhere around there.
That's close enough. I think you've taken it out far enough.
But I mean, $3 a game to go to a big league ball game. There's 3 Yankee games in September. That alone would make it worth it for the $49 price tag. So make sure you guys check that out at the Fan Pass, a new trend in Major League Baseball, and a good idea for sure. Rougned Odor ahead in the count 3-1 after he takes that 3-0 pitch from Farquhar. Farquhar last pitch in the big leagues this season, going back to June 28th against the Pittsburgh Pirates as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. His numbers overall pretty respectable as he misses downstairs, and it is a 2-out walk to Rougned Odor.
Well, get a couple of men on for the middle of the order. Take a walk. Need some base runners. Rangers second in the major leagues in home runs, so you know that's potentially there anywhere in the lineup.
That was Andrews. You see it there, 0 for 2 so far today. Did have a walk back in the 3rd inning. He reached second base after the walk to Adrian Beltre. That loaded the bases. The Rangers were unable to come through back-to-back innings where they had the bases loaded with 1 out. But they combined 4 pop-ups in that time. One by Drew Robinson, one by Brett Nicholas, and then Nomar Mazara and Joey Gallo did the same thing. So there have been opportunities, not a lot, limited opportunities here so far for the Rangers in this close game, with the White Sox leading at 3-0. They had scored 3 runs in the 4th inning against A.J. Griffin. There's Farquhar's 1-1, and this one is lined and is going to get down for a base hit for Elvis Andrews. Rougned Odor will go to 3rd. He'll get there easily, and with 2 outs, suddenly the Rangers are in business 1st and 3rd. And that'll bring Adrian Beltre to the plate.
Exactly what you want to see. With 2 outs, get a couple of men on. Hope for 1 swing of the bat and a tie ball game. Pretty good movement on that pitch. It tailed down and in, and a very nice swing by Elvis to get the barrel of the bat on it. Whipped it into the gap. Engel is not going to worry about Odor going to 3rd. He's not going to take any chances. He'll just throw it to 2nd, make sure Elvis doesn't take the extra base.
So 5th hit of the afternoon for the Texas Rangers, and with Odor on third, a runner in scoring position. The Rangers so far just 1 for 9 today with runners in scoring position. Adrian Beltre will take a ball upstairs. This is an area in which he has been good. 286 on the season for Adrian with runners in scoring position. 310 overall, that batting average, 13 home runs, 53 RBIs. And this one is skied on the left side of the infield in foul territory. It's going to be the third baseman, Saladino, who makes the play. And so the threat is extinguished, and it is no runs once again here for the Rangers. We'll go to the 8th when we get back here in Arlington. A pretty unbelievable catch by that young man. And so I don't know what they're challenging necessarily. They thought that the ball fell out of his glove, but what a nice moment for him. All right, so check us out. Matt Bush now on here. Sorry about that, Tom.
That's all right.
The Rangers.
And a nice 2 innings for Tony Barnett. Gave up a hit, but it was erased on a double play. Also had a couple of strikeouts.
Well, for Matt Bush. Now, Matt Bush on the season has thrown the ball pretty well. He was a closer here for a little while since coming out of the closer role. He's thrown the ball extremely well. But he's had an issue with the Chicago White Sox this year. Look at his game logs and what he has done against the White Sox. And it's only been in a couple of games. With 5 earned runs total for Matt Bush. 3 of those came back on June 30th and then a couple of last night. And he's only allowed 16 earned runs all year. So nearly a third of Matt Bush's runs have come against the Chicago White Sox. He's ahead in the count to Delmonico 1-2, and there's a high fastball, 96 miles an hour. Delmonico is able to hold up. And this one is popped weakly to the left side. Matt Bush is calling for it, and then he collides
with Joey Gallo.
Boy, they hit heads.
And Gallo is down. Matt Bush is up, but holding on to his head. And Matt Bush, the former shortstop, we know he is a great athlete, but this was one of those tweeners. Some blood there from Joey Gallo. Not sure where that is coming from, but scary moment as we saw these two collide on a tough short pop-up. See Matt Bush now checking in on Joey Gallo. Tom, that was a pop-up that just unfortunately didn't get high enough for anybody to try to take command, and Matt Bush aware of the shift as well, of course, which kind of creates some of these awkward situations. He kept looking, tracking the ball, and did not hear Joey Gallo, so hopefully everybody is okay.
Yeah, it's the kind of ball that it's in between. You saw Matt look and make the decision that he needed to go for it. And it's far enough away from Joey where he had to come from that he really wasn't able to call for it. It's just one of those in-between balls that can cause that kind of a collision. Keep our fingers crossed that Joey's okay. See, Joey's back at shortstop. It's not a sky-high pop-up. Joey's not calling. Matt wasn't sure if he was going to get there, didn't want the ball to fall, so he went for it. Turned out that Joey would have been able to make the play. But I think Joey's anticipating that it's his ball. There's not going to be anybody in the way, and then right at the end that happened.
Looked like maybe Bush got, see the head collision there, maybe in his nose. We're not exactly sure. We're careful always with speculating in these situations.
And they have to come back. Joey was the one that was down, but need to come back and check with Matt too. Matt was hit hard as well. Matt Lucero's out to look at him.
So Phil Gosselin will enter the game at third base for Joey Gallo. You said the Rangers maybe still not 100% sure if Matt Bush is going to stay in this game. He's talking about his ankle a little bit. Matt Bush certainly looked like he felt something on the left side. Matt Bush is shaking his head no, which may be an indication that he's not 100% comfortable maybe putting weight on that leg. We're not sure yet. Jeff Bannister now walking over toward Doug Brocail, the first baseline, as they figure out exactly what they want to do. Rangers trail 3-0, and so it does appear that maybe Matt Bush will be coming out of this game. Tony Barnett has been the only reliever used. You see some of the relievers now just kind of milling around. So it does appear that Matt Bush will also be coming out of this game for the Texas Rangers. So a scary moment. A collision here with Matt Bush and Joey Gallo. Bush did hold on to the baseball, and so there is one out here in the 8th inning. We will see no action yet in the Ranger bullpen, so we're going to have a little bit of a delay here. We'll see ultimately who gets up, and I'll let you guys know exactly who will be coming in the game. Looks like maybe Jason Grilli, whoever it is, will be taking all of their warm-ups on the game mound. We'll get it all straightened out when we get back here on Fox Sports Southwest. There's the score. The White Sox are leading the Rangers 3-0. See the 10 men left on base by the Rangers. 6 for the Chicago White Sox, but some bigger concerns here right now for the Texas Rangers as Joey Gallo and Matt Bush had a collision here on the first batter of the 8th inning, Tom.
Yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate balls. It wasn't high enough for Joey to really take charge and call for it. He assumes that he's got a clear path to the ball. His eye is on the ball. I don't think he ever saw that Matt was there. Matt, as the ball went up, kind of looked back, knew that Joey was playing back at shortstop, and he made the decision that Joey was going to be too far away from the ball, that he needed to go after it himself. And it was just kind of a perfect storm that created that unfortunate collision. Just a nasty head-on collision like that. Both of them hit their heads, but it looked like each one of them could have also twisted their ankles. I guess we won't know until we get a medical report a little bit down the road. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that they're both okay. Joey obviously left earlier than Matt, and then they came back out and knew they had to check on Matt as well. It's one of those unfortunate balls. It's tough to say it's anyone's fault. It's just one of those balls that's an in-between ball. It was difficult for either player to know exactly how that was going to end up, who's going to have the best chance to catch it. As it turned out, it looked like Joey probably had an easy chance to catch it, but so did Matt. He did catch it.
Well, Jason Grilli is now in the game. You see him there, and he had as much time as he wanted. He didn't take very much at all. He is ready. As you see the pitch arsenal there, we also showed you Phil Gosselin, would come in at third base. He was recalled from AAA Round Rock yesterday. He actually arrived during the game. This will be his Texas Rangers debut. He was claimed off waivers by the Texas Rangers from the Pittsburgh Pirates back on August 12th. He was an up and down player with the Pittsburgh Pirates this season.
The other thing that comes into play to a certain degree on that play is most pitchers are not going to go for that ball, and if you're Joey on that play, you probably make the assumption that this is my ball. The pitchers don't usually go after pop-ups, but as you said, CJ, Matt Bush was a shortstop and an excellent athlete coming out of high school, so he has the agility and the ability to make that play easily, and he did go after it, and I think that probably surprised Joey. I don't think he had any idea that Matt was going to be there in that collision.
It's just one of those things, you just don't see it happen very often. Joey Gallo essentially was playing shortstop at that point, so he's taking an angle to a pop-up at the infield that he usually does not take. Matt Bush going for a ball that he usually does not go for coming from the mound. If you have a regular standard defense, that's just an easy pop-up to the third baseman, but the shift kind of created some unusual situations there, and ultimately the collision happened, and unfortunate. Like you said, fingers crossed that everybody will be okay, but in the meantime, Jason Grilli is on, and he gets a ground ball to Phil Gosselin, and so the new guy will get an opportunity. And
how about that? You come into a game after 3 hours and you have that play to make. And he did a great job of playing it. He's not playing in at all with Garcia at the bat. He was way back at third base. So he comes in on the dead run. You can see where he starts from, which gave him very little chance to have enough time. But on the dead run, he fielded it, made it a nice, accurate throw. Just never had time with Garcia getting down the line.
Gosselin, like you said, everything.
They say the ball's going to find you. You just got into the game. Didn't you have time to get loose? Well, he had time to get loose, but I don't know that he's expecting that kind of a play.
Well, certainly not. And so there was a runner on now with one out for Omar Narvaez, the catcher here with the Chicago White Sox. Jason Grilli pitched last night through an inning, 24 pitches for him in his outing. He did allow a home run to Jose Abreu. And here's the 0-1 from the 40-year-old. That one is fouled back. Count now 0-2. Even splits for Jason Grilli this season. Lefties hitting .261, righties .267. He opened the season with the Toronto Blue Jays. Pitched in 26 games before he was designated for assignment on June 27th. Second time around here with the Texas Rangers. Of course, pitched in Arlington in 2009, was a all-star with the Pirates in 2013. Here's a little pop-up behind second base. Elvis Andrus runs it down. Now he'll spin and throw to first. And Garcia will get back in plenty of time, but a nice play by Elvis Andrus. And that's the second out of this inning.
Yep, nice range by Elvis going out towards center field. Had it all the way.
After what we just saw with Joey Gallo
go again.
And Matt Bush, you start wondering, potential collision there, and if anybody would get a little bit hesitant, but Elvis Andrus does not. He makes the nice play, the second out of the inning here in the top of the 8th. That'll bring up Tim Anderson with Garcia at first. Anderson an 0 for 3 day for him. He did score a run back in the 4th inning. He reached on a fielder's choice. That ground ball to third base that ultimately caused that run down. One that went 5-2, 5-1, where A.J. Griffin made the tag to get Avisail Garcia out. But Anderson eventually came around to score on the double from Tyler Saladino in that 4th inning. And here's one that's lined over the head of Elvis Andrus. It'll be a base hit, the first of the afternoon for Tim Anderson, and the 9th for the Chicago White Sox.
It's a breaking ball, hit it right off the end of the bat. Elvis was thinking about jumping, but couldn't get to it. Looped it right over his head.
So a couple of soft contact base hits here against Jason Grilli for the Chicago White Sox. There was the infield hit for Avisail Garcia, and then the one that you just saw right there for Tim Anderson. So Tyler Saladino will step in. You see it there, the 2-run double I was just talking about in the 4th inning. 197 on the season, no home runs for Saladino. Hitting just 175 coming into this ball game against right-handed pitching. And first pitch is foul down the right field line. That one will reach the seats. 0-1. Here's the 0-1 from Jason Grilli, and this one is popped up behind home plate. Brett Nicholas is chasing, and he makes the catch. And what a play by Brett Nicholas. Looked like he lost it for a second, picked it up, and made a tremendous play against the net behind home plate.
Yeah, it looked like he was underneath it, and then at the last minute, he had a lunge into the screen to make the play. Beautiful play.
Great concentration by Brett Nicholas, and so it is a 0 here in the 8th inning. The Rangers still trailing the White Sox 3-0.
continue to trail the White Sox by a score of 3-0 here in Arlington. Well, make sure you watch every out-of-market regular season game live on MLB.TV Premium on over 400 supported devices. Plus, you can get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, which is the #1 app for live baseball. Make sure you visit MLB.TV for those details. Well, pitching change here now in the 8th inning for the Chicago White Sox. Gregory Infante on now for his 34th game.
Yeah, Infante pitched in the game that the White Sox won earlier. Threw the ball pretty well, a good arm. Twice as many strikeouts as walks.
It looked sharp in that win. And he picked up the W in that contest through an inning and 2/3. Did not allow a hit. Struck out 1. First batter faced for Infante this year. They are batting .231, 6'4", 26 with 4 walks. And that first batter in the 8th will be Nomar Mazara. Oh for 2 for Mazara, .261 on the season, 16 home runs, 83 RBIs, and quietly he has become a guy who has continued to rack up RBIs as he hits this line drive into right field, but right at Garcia. And once again, a hard hit ball ends up as an out for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, that's probably the 4th, maybe the 5th line shot that's been hit right at an outfielder. A good pitch to hit, take a great swing, ball just jumps right off the bat. Unfortunately, didn't elevate it enough to go over his head, just hit it right at him.
So with the 1 out, Phil Gosselin will now step in. You see the numbers there and what he did with the Pittsburgh Pirates this season. 150 batting average in his 3 stints with the big league club. Fouls the first pitch off that he sees. Gosselin was a 5th-round pick back in 2010 out of the University of Virginia. There was the Braves that took him in that 5th round that season. So the breaking ball out of the zone, count even now, 1-1. He's got big league time with the Braves from 2013 to 2015. Also played for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2015 and 16. 2017, as I mentioned, with the Pirates. So this is his 4th big league club since 2015. Hits a hard ground ball to third base. Saladino fields it over to first to Delmonico. Gosselin is retired, and now there are 2 outs here in the 8th.
Another well hit ball. Rangers are suffering from the atom ball today, hitting them right at the fielders. Last night they were hitting them hard over the fence. They were hitting them soft in front of the fielders. Everything they hit fell in. Today it's been the exact opposite. There have been a lot of well hit balls that have not found holes today. Funny how things change from one night to the next day.
Well, Mike Napoli steps in here with 2 outs and nobody on. A 2 for 3 day so far for Mike Napoli. A couple of base hits, one in the 2nd, one in the 4th. Both of those off the starter, Miguel Gonzalez. Well, the Rangers over their last 5 games have absolutely been taking it to opposing bullpens. 30 runs scored, averaging 6 per against bullpens. They'll need at least 3 here today. As Mike Napoli swings at a breaking pitch, and he's now down on the count 0-2. And really, I guess they need at least 4. Try to win this ball game. 4 outs remaining for the Texas Rangers. Bottom of the 8th. The 3 runs for the White Sox all came in the 4th inning. .02, fastball up and in at 96 miles an hour from Infante. And 1-2, and this breaking ball is hit foul. And Tony Beasley will flip it into the stands. This game started at 97 degrees. First pitch, it is still 97 degrees here in a warm afternoon in Arlington. 23,861 was the announced attendance today.
The guys that are probably feeling it the most, obviously the catchers, but also the home plate umpire. At least the players can come off the field, sit down, get a cold towel around their neck, drink all they want. Home plate umpire, he can go in occasionally and get something, but for the most part, he's standing without sitting for 3.5 hours in 97-degree heat.
Well,
you don't think about him sometimes.
No, we certainly do not. And that is James Hoy behind the plate today for this umpiring crew. I was a big fan of those ice towels, though, Tom. They put that little ammonia water stuff in there, and oh my goodness, big fan. To get one up here in the booth. Here's the 2-2 to Mike Napoli, and that fastball misses downstairs. Good arm from Infante. It's 96, but out of the strike zone, and so Mike Napoli will be in a full count. Try to do some damage against Gregory Infante. Here's the 3-2, and there's a ground ball hit up the middle, but Sanchez is there. Backhands, throws over to first, and Mike Napoli is retired, and the Rangers are done here in the 8th. We'll go to the top of the 9th when we get back. It is the top of the 9th as they trail the White Sox 3-0, but the remaining schedule and really the matchups that they have against the Angels, Tom, will be very important. There's some opportunity.
Yep, definitely. The Angels are one of the teams tied for that second wild card right now, ahead of the Rangers, and the Rangers will face them 4 times on the road Monday through Thursday. They'll face them 3 times again in September in Anaheim. And then here they'll face them 3 times at the beginning of September. So 10 more games against one of the teams ahead of us. And there's the amount of losses that all the teams battling have. You can see Minnesota has the fewest at 59, and the Rangers are at 61. A little bit of ground to make up, a lot of teams to do it against, but plenty of time to accomplish it, and in a lot of cases, games against those teams.
And that's what's important. The Rangers don't have necessarily their destiny in their own hands, but they have opportunity. It is there, and it's been nice to see them play so well as of late to get themselves back into this wild card race the way that they have after selling a couple of pieces at the deadline, and Yu Darvish and Jonathan Lucroy, Jeremy Jeffress. This team has rallied and played well, and they said it at the time that they still believed that they could win, and they have proved that so far. It's been a good homestand, 7-2 up to this point. Trying to go 8-2 as they'll have to come back against the White Sox in the bottom of the 9th. Jason Grilli is out for his 2nd inning of work. And there is a strikeout by Jason Grilli. His first of the afternoon against Adam Engel. One out here in the ninth.
Jeff Bannister's going to make a visit to the mound and possible pitching change right here.
Interesting here. We know that Alex Claudio has been up, and indeed the signal has been made, and Jason Grilli's afternoon is done. It'll be Alex Claudio, the lone lefty in that bullpen for the Rangers, coming on here in the top of the ninth.
Top of the ninth, one out, and Alex Claudio on to pitch. A quick update on the status of Joey Gallo and Matt Bush, who collided a little bit earlier in the game, both removed. Joey Gallo has been said to have a inflated upper lip, swollen upper lip, and a bloody nose. He is being taken back for x-rays just as a precaution. Matt Bush with a sore right knee, not thought to be serious. We'll pass along any other information if we get it before the game ends, guys.
We appreciate it, Emily, and that's certainly maybe some good early news. We also heard that both of those guys will be in the MLB concussion protocol just to make sure that everything is okay with them. Nothing too serious. I'm sure we'll know a lot more tomorrow, as Alex Claudio now has come on for the Texas Rangers, and he'll try to get these last two outs here in the top of the ninth.
Alex throws 60% sinkers, mid-80s to around 88 miles an hour, and not that Ranger fans need to be reminded, he also occasionally throws a pretty good changeup.
Alex has done an excellent job here for Jeff Bannister out of that bullpen. So reliable. He's been used in that closer role, but we had talked about this as well. With no technically any pitcher that is set as the closer, he has the freedom to use him when he wants him to, whether that means it's even up by more than 3 runs or in a situation like this where the Rangers are down but they need to keep the game close. And Alex Claudio very quickly disposes of Luis Garcia, who is down, and it is his 3rd strikeout of the afternoon for Garcia.
And here is that changeup.
69 miles an hour.
Like disappears. Go to swing at it, it's not there anymore.
So good job by Alex Claudio with the first hitter that he has faced. It'll be a second switch hitter now in Yolmer Sanchez, and that's part of this, is that Jeff Bannister wanted to get both of these guys turned around. Sanchez hitting just .232 coming into this game against lefties, .262 against righties, and so turning him around to the right side, certainly what Jeff Bannister would want to do. And this is a big out because Jose Abreu was sitting on deck, and Abreu homered off of Alex Claudio. As this one goes off, Alex, he gets it, fields it, flips to Mike Napoli in time. Sanchez is retired, and Alex Claudio does the job once again. Well, we're going to go to the bottom of the ninth, and the Rangers are going to need some magic to win this one.
for a big rally. I'm thinking a Rugi Odor walk-off home run to win this one as we head into the bottom of the ninth. Rangers Live, presented by Frontier Communications, is on deck. Mike Bassick, Rick Renner here. We'll update you and get all kinds of reaction from the collision of Joey Gallo and Matt Bush. But this has been a game so far of missed opportunities.
Yeah, hopefully the Rangers can change that in the ninth inning, but we'll look back on the second and third inning with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, and the Rangers just not able to get any runs scored in those early innings.
So we'll get reaction from Jeff Bannister, Emily Jones working the clubhouse for interviews, and we'll look ahead to the LA Angels series in the solar eclipse. That's not Mike's head, but that'll be fun too, guys.
I'm not going to say that to block the sun, but it sounded like you did. Well, I appreciate that, guys. Hey, real quick, let's take a look, Tom. A good day here for Miguel Gonzalez. Not exactly what we were expecting, as you see Aaron Bummer now coming in, but Gonzalez is pretty good today.
Yeah, and you have to give him credit. He went 6 innings. He didn't give up a run. That deserves credit right there. Now, along the way, he was forced to pitch out of a lot of jams. Bases loaded in the second, bases loaded in the third, first and second, nobody out in the fourth. But he did it. He threw a lot of high fastballs, got a lot of pop-ups, and when the day is done, it's 4 hits and no runs. Gonzalez with a pretty good ball game.
Well, Aaron Bummer, the lefty, is now on here for the Chicago White Sox, and he falls behind Drew Robinson 2-0. Bummer's done a good job against lefties this year, 150 batting average against him with Robinson and then Brett Nicholas due up. You could see why Bummer would be in this game. Minaya is up in the bullpen as well, the righty, who, if needed, there he is, would be called upon, Juan Minaya, called upon to maybe help Bummer out. But it's a 3-0 count right now to Drew Robinson, and there it is, a 4-pitch walk. And so the first batter of the game, excuse me, of the inning is on here for the Rangers, and that, Tom, is how you start a rally.
That's how you start a rally, and the White Sox have been here before. They've lost a lot of leads late. And even though you got what looks like a comfortable lead, there's a little bit of a feeling of, uh-oh, here we go again. And the Rangers have had some nice comebacks. And they've got guys that can do it.
Well, there is only one right-handed hitter on the bench, and he will come and pinch hit now for Brett Nicholas, and it is Robinson Chirinos. Chirinos, of course, has been the regular catcher here, and he's played more than just your average backup catcher even before Jonathan Lucroy got traded, but he has become the starter since then, a full-time starter. You see the overall numbers there, 14 home runs, which are a career best for Robinson Chirinos, but Bummer is only going to throw 4 pitches today. His afternoon is over. Rick Renteria has popped out and made the call once the pinch hit appearance of Robinson Chirinos became official. That means that they are going to go to their righty, Juan Minaya. We will tell you all about him, and we'll find out whether or not we see maybe Chu pinch hit for Chirinos. We'll find out all of that when we get back. Drew Robinson led off this inning. It was a 4-pitch walk. Thanks to Aaron Bummer. Bummer now out of the game once Robinson Chirinos was announced as the pinch hitter. Now it brought up an interesting situation. If you're going to try to play those lefty-righty matchups, well, the only lefty you have on the bench right now is Shin-Soo Choo. Tom, but you brought up a pretty good point as far as why they probably would not use Choo here.
Well, they've only have a 3-man bench, and Robinson is the second catcher. And when Jeff Bannister makes the decision to pinch hit here, he knows who's down in the bullpen. He knows Minaya is down in the bullpen. And he's saying, okay, in this situation, I like the matchup. I want Robinson Chirinos. He knows the right-hander's coming in to face Juan Minaya. The lefty-lefty matchup would have been Brett Nicholas against Aaron Bummer. Bummer's been pretty good against left-hand hitters. So, you know, Jeff knows what the situation is, and it's Robinson here. And Robinson has been very capable this year. 14 home runs, .332 on base percentage, so he's your guy.
And the other part of that is if the Rangers were to tie the game, if you did go to Choo as the pinch hitter, you no longer have a catcher available to catch defensively, and that means you'd go to your emergency catcher. And at one point that was Pete Kozma, who's no longer here, so I don't know if that would have been Kozma, but we don't have to worry about that right now, as Robinson Chirinos is way ahead in the count 2-0. And if you look at the splits for Chirinos, 286 batting average against lefties this year, 223 against righties, but 11 of those 14 home runs have come against right-handed pitching. For Rick Renteria, the manager of the White Sox, he would just like one of his pitchers to throw a strike this inning. And so far they have not. 7 pitches, 7 balls.
And Minaya got the save the other night in the game the White Sox won. It's the only save that the bullpen has. He was, you know, he got the job done, but he's a little shaky as far as command goes. And a walk right here, it'll be real shaky.
Well, the 3-0, and that one misses outside. It'll be ball 4. So back-to-back 4-pitch walks for this Chicago White Sox bullpen, and the Rangers will bring the potential tying run to the plate in what we thought would have been Delano DeShields, but no, instead it is going to be pinch hitter Shin-Soo Choo. So that means that the bench is empty now here for the Texas Rangers. It will empty it out in an attempt to get back in this game. You see Delano DeShields right there, and probably wanted that opportunity, but Jeff Bannister decided that he was going to play the odds here. And now Don Cooper will come out and talk to Minaya about Choo.
We'll see. This discussion is going to be, take a deep breath, big guy, relax. You've got great stuff. Throw the ball over the plate, and we'll see what happens. But you have to throw the ball over the plate to have a chance.
Now, Tom, what do you think about this? It was a 3-0 game. You mentioned Minaya was the first pitcher of the active roster to have a save, right? There's been an issue here, but they're obviously not treating him like the closer because they didn't give him the entire 9th inning, right? And I know you're trying to play matchups, but does that, you ever worry about that sending the wrong message to a guy? He got the save the other night and they said, you know what, well, we don't want you to start the inning. We'd rather our lefty try to get the 2 lefties out first.
I wouldn't, if I'm the manager, I'm not worried about the message. I don't have Dennis Eckersley out there. I got Juan Minaya. And if I can get an out with my lefty, who's been pretty good against lefties, I'm going to try to get it with the lefty. And if there's outs to be left, then I'll bring in Minaya. But, you know, I don't think you can look at it as a situation where you're not delivering the right message to your closer. I don't think they've got the kind of bullpen that you have to worry about that with. And if they feel that way, tough luck.
Well, here's the first pitch to Choo, and there is the first strike of the inning for the Chicago White Sox. This will be the 41st time in his career that Choo has been sent up as a pinch hitter. He's a .241 career hitter, no home runs. He does have a triple, a couple of doubles, and 9 RBIs as a pinch hitter. That one misses way inside, count even 1-1.
Now, Minaya is obviously struggling with his command. Choo is a good guy to have up there because for the most part, he doesn't expand his strike zone. He will make Minaya throw a strike.
Well, here is the 1-1 now from Minaya, and that one is called a strike on the outside corner, and Choo frustrated with that call. You saw him kind of start his swing a little bit, but felt like that ball was going to run off the plate. James Hoy said it did not. So count now 1-2 here to Chu. And here's the 1-2, and it is a breaking ball, and it's a ground ball hit to Sanchez. Flips to Anderson for one. Over to first. Double play. And just like that, the Rangers' threat takes a little bit of a hit with the double play turned by the Chicago White Sox. Drew Robinson went to third. But Chu is retired, and 2 outs here on 1 pitch.
He ran that cut fastball, slider, ran it inside on the inside corner, and hit Shin-Soo right off the hands. And it turned into a relatively easy double play for the White Sox to turn.
So it is no longer the tying run that will be at the plate. Rougned Odor will represent run number 2 with 2 outs here in the 9th inning, and Drew Robinson on third, and there's a first pitch fastball called a strike to Odor. See that there, Odor 0 for 3 today with a walk, couple of strikeouts, and that fastball misses up and away. Count even 1-1. The Rangers have been shut out 4 times this season. That is tied for the 4th fewest in Major League Baseball. They are trying to avoid being shut out for the 5th time here in the 9th. And the 1-2 to Odor. This one is lifted to center field. Engel is back. He's near the track. He leaps, and it is gone. A home run. Rougned Odor. Number 27 on the season. There will be no shutout today. And the Rangers are within a run now here against the Chicago White Sox.
Adam Engel was right on that ball, too. He went back as fast as he could, which is pretty fast. Timed it perfectly, just ran out of room. And Rougned put a charge in it. The ball carried well 400 feet to dead center field.
So the 2-run shot now makes it 3-2 here in the bottom of the 9th, and that's going to bring up Elvis Andrus, who takes a first pitch fastball called strike 1. And the 0-1, that's a slider that misses. Count even 1-1. And here is a high fly ball, but it is hit to straightaway center field. Engel is there. He makes the catch, and this ball game is over. Well, the Rangers tried to make it interesting, and they did in the bottom of the 9th, but they lose this one. A final score of 3-2.
Yeah, it ended up being a good homestand, 7-3. You're not going to complain about winning 7 out of 10. At the same time, the way the Rangers are playing, it's a disappointing way to end the homestand, losing to the White Sox.
Well, it was a good homestand overall, but Rick Renner and Mike Bassick will cover what happened earlier in this game, the injuries to Matt Bush and to Joey Gallo. They'll have updates there. They'll also have the player reactions and analysis. For Tom Grieve, Steve Hunt, Emily Jones, I'm CJ Nikowski, inviting you to stay with us as our coverage of Rangers baseball continues.